you know. I think I said it already, but this group is really special, and it will never happen again the way that it happened this year with this group of people. And I think I just feel really proud. And yeah, it was emotional though. I mean, and exciting. I mean, they kept saying to me, this feels so different. This feels so different. You know, we're performing with no one in the theater. I'm asking them to dance so big with no one watching except for the four of us. And they did it, you know? So I'm happy. You know, the curtain is closed and they took their final bows, and that was it. So watching them on stage was everything to me, because I didn't know if that would ever happen this year, and it was very emotional. I cried.
I feel complete, like my senior year has been complete. Like, even if I didn't get to do anything else, prom, graduation, or whatnot, I still wanted to dance at Fort Hays at least one more time, be on the stage with the lights at least one more time. That's all I was hoping for from the beginning of the school year.
And we can be so much more than who we are, so much more than who we are. We can, knee deep in while the world just falls apart at the rise above it all. And we can, and we can be so much more than who we are, so much more than who we are. We can, knee deep in while the world just falls apart at the rise above it all. And we can.
I'm really happy I got to do something. I really thought, I'm like, there's no way that I could.
I'm mostly proud of myself for being able to like stick to something and like do good and like be around people who are also doing good.
Dance sometimes is just made to look effortless. Like, you're not meant to see the pain. You're meant to see the beauty of it. So that's something as dancers that we pride ourselves on, of making it look effortless as much as we can.
And we can be so much more than who we are, so much more than who we are. We can, knee deep in while the world just falls apart at the rise above it all. And we can.
And this is the thing about dance, is it's you on the stage. Yes, you can play a character, but it's your body and your expressivity. It takes a heck of a lot of vulnerability. And that's a big ask for young people.
Even in the midst of a pandemic that we've never seen before, even in the midst of great tragedies that we have not seen before, the students at Fort Hays, the students in Columbus, the teachers, the staff, we all still rise up.
And we can be so much more than who we are, so much more than who we are. We can, knee deep in while the world just falls apart at the rise above it all. And we can.
Dun, 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 dun. Tommy Emmanuel, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Maggie.
And Accomplice 2 is out now. You didn't think you could top the other Accomplice album,
tried.
but it's pretty special as well. But we're
Thank
thrilled
you.
to have you here today.
Thank you.
And we've got a lot to talk about, where it all started, this latest album, the show tonight with Jorma Kaukonen,
Yeah, indeed.
who we adore as well.
Yeah.
The show's tonight at 8, and we'll have a pair of tickets to give away for the event tonight. Details at kappa.com. It's also listed on our Facebook events. Tommy, what are you going to start us off with?
I thought I might play one of the tracks from the new album, and this is a song that I wrote as a dedication to Merle Travis's son, Tom Bresh, who passed away last year. He was quite a cannonball, that guy. He was a comet flying through our lives, like Travis was, I guess. So I tried to write this tune in a kind of with a typical Merle Travis flavor. But then when I got to the bridge, it visits Stevie Wonder or someone like that, you know. And that's because I'm from a different generation to Merle Travis. But on the album, my buddy Richard Smith plays all the harmony parts. So today I'll have to do his part as well. So here it is, Son of a Gun.
How do you do it?
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Tommy Emmanuel joining us live from Studio A, and it's a track on the latest album, Accomplice 2, Son of a Gun, with
Son of a
Richard Smith. And tonight's the show, 8 o'clock, with Jorma Kaukonen, two separate sets, and they might get together
We do.
for
I haven't,
during
I
Tommy's
haven't
set.
seen Yorma in a little while, so it'll be nice to catch up with him. And, you know, he's been a great friend to me.
When did you first play together?
When I came to Fur Peace about 15 years ago.
Amazing place.
Yeah, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about some of these other all-stars that you got lined up here. It's a 16-song track, so amazing people on here. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't need anyone but yourself, but you have nice
Well,
special guests on here.
Well, yeah, it was real serendipity how this album came together. I recorded it all last year, and I had one of the busiest years of my life, and so did everybody else, because, you know, since we got over COVID and we're back out working again, everybody got busy. But it was just really fortunate, you know, people like Billy Strings and Molly Tuttle and you know, Yorma's track and Little Feet, Nitty Gritty, all those people. Everybody's touring, but they just happened to come through Nashville, and I was able to get them in the studio, you know. Billy came in, and we cut the Doc Watson tunes, the first take, and then he left, and then Molly came in a little later, and we cut her track, first take as well. You know, the artists of that level are that good. Yeah. You know, you get a good sound on your guitar and on your voice, and you can just do it. You know.
And speaking, you mentioned Billy Strings, of course. He goes through a lot of strings.
He does. I'm sure.
How about yourself? I'm sure you do too.
Well, I played a show last night in Grand Rapids, and it was raining cats and dogs, and it was really humid, and I thought my strings are going to be dead and everything. But they sound pretty good. I'm road testing some new Martin strings.
So the thicker or thinner? I'm not a guitar player.
Oh, okay. My strings are 12 to 54 is the gauge. It's called light gauge, but most people who play electric guitar would would go, oh my God, how do you play guitar with such heavy strings? But when you play acoustic, you've got to get some kind of kickback, from the string. Like you can still get that kind of vocal singing sound, but in order to do, say if I was going to do something like 16 tons or something, I'd want that honky tonk bottom end, like the bass sound from those strings. So you need them to be big and tough kind of thing,
Yeah.
So they sound pretty new today, right? But I thought they were shot to pieces after the show last night. But it must have been my hearing that was shot to pieces.
Welcome to WCBE.
Thanks for having us.
We've got
Happy
this.
to be here.
We're happy to have you here and talk about this new album, I'm Okay, No I'm Not, where it all started in Cincinnati, Ohio. She's Nashville based now. And we'll get warmed up with a song and come back and talk all about that and give some tickets away.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. What are you going to, what's the first one you're going to do?
We're starting with 8 Hours, which is off of my first record.
Okay.
Yeah.
great.
Let's do it. Grandma is drinking again. I'm feeling foolish, 'cause I thought she would quit. Is it something I did? Something I did. My best friend and I don't talk anymore. One day I woke up and it felt different. Is it something I said? Or something I did? Can we pretend that everything's alright? Like none of it keeps us up at night. Can we pretend that everything's alright? Like we're getting 8 hours. 8 hours of sleep at night. Ooh. My neighbor's been in love since I was a kid. They just signed the papers. They're calling it quits. They said it was easy. Was it easy? 'Cause their little girl came up to me and said, Mommy's moving out, but she'll be right back. Oh, so don't tell me that's easy. Please don't pretend that everything's alright. Like none of it keeps you up at night. Please don't pretend that everything's alright. You look like you got 8 hours of sleep last night. I'm one to talk about not pretending. I'm one to say you should let it out. But the truth is, I haven't said what I.
Hello to our entire Columbus City Schools community. My name is Malin Damashi and I'm a student at Northland High School. Before we begin tonight's Board of Education business meeting, I invite you to check out these highlights and updates from across the district.
Greetings and welcome to this week's highlights from across the district. In a spectacular finale at East High School, the Region 3 Extracurriculum Extended Learning League, also known as REAL, wrapped up a thrilling basketball season. Over 8 weeks, students from 14 CCS elementary schools not only dedicated their Saturdays to enhancing skills, sportsmanship, friendship, and fun, but also engaged in a service project, gathering donations to positively impact the community. The championship event displayed talent and excitement, where Buckeye Middle School secured the win in the 6th grade division, and Cedarwood Elementary School topped the elementary division. These victories highlight our scholars' hard work, perseverance, and skill. Congratulations to Buckeye Middle School, Cedarwood Elementary School, the coaches, CCS staff, and all young athletes of Real for their remarkable achievements and the positive spirit they've brought to this season of basketball fun. The second annual Columbus Journalist in Training program concluded with great success. Over the past 5 weeks, CCS high school students delved into the world of journalism, honing their storytelling, video production, and social media skills under the guidance of industry experts from the Columbus Dispatch and the Central Ohio chapter of the Society of Professional Journalists. As Saturday marked the program's conclusion, we extend our heartfelt congratulations to all participants for their dedication and passion. In a grand celebration, our Columbus City Schools community gathered on Thursday, March 14th, alongside City Year, to celebrate 3 decades of educational excellence at the 30th anniversary City Year Red Jacket Gala. Among the highlights of the evening was the recognition of 7 exceptional CCS principals who received red jackets as a token of appreciation for their dedication, leadership, and partnership. Additionally, City Year honored CCS with the prestigious Ripple Award, highlighting our school community's impact on our scholars, young leaders, and educators. The evening was a testament to the collaborative spirit and commitment to empowering education. The Columbus Afrocentric Early College Lady Nubians have secured their 9th state championship title in a thrilling victory. With determination and exceptional skill, they've once again risen to the top, showcasing their dominance in high school basketball. Congratulations to our Lady Nubians for their historic achievement and excellence throughout the season. Your relentless pursuit of greatness and commitment to teamwork have solidified your legacy as true champions on and off the court. Let's celebrate this remarkable milestone and honor the outstanding achievements of our beloved team. Go CAEC! These have been your highlights from around the district for March 19th. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Welcome to the March 19th, 2024 business meeting of the Columbus Board of Education here at International Global Academy. Please call the roll.
Ms. Adair?
Present.
Mr. Cole? Ms.
Excuse?
Yes, here. Vice President Dr. Pierce?
Present.
Ms. Reyes? Here. Mr. Simmons?
Present.
President Vera?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. This evening, we will have our Region 4 updates in addition to 9 public comment guests. We also have some items under board matters. We will have an executive report from our superintendent. We do not have a planned report from our internal auditor or interim treasurer. And then we do have items 10.1 to 26.7 in the consent agenda. And then we do also have an executive session. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
President Vera?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. And at this time, we are going to have our Pledge of Allegiance by student Jasmine Smith Hughes. So if you can come up front and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I will hand it over to you, Madam Superintendent.
Thank you. Good evening, President Vera, Vice President Pierce, board members, and community members. We are very excited to be here this evening at Columbus International High School and Columbus Global Academy for tonight's board meeting. First, I would like to provide, by starting with an update on our building substitute program for the 24-25 school year. As a reminder, this program was initially started during the COVID-19 pandemic to increase substitute engagement and support when teachers were isolated or quarantined for several days at a time due to COVID-19. The entire program was funded by federal ESSER dollars. With the decline in the spread of COVID-19 and the ending of federal ESSER funding, the Board of Education and the administration recognized the importance of continuing the building substitute program to help cover when our teachers need to be out of the classroom and if schools have vacancies that need to be filled, usually due to late teacher resignations, by including building sub positions funded by ESSER in the recent levy ask. Due to the success of Issue 11, we were able to move 56 building sub positions from federal ESSER funding to the district's general fund budget. In addition to these positions, we've prioritized allocating additional resources into the substitute budget to ensure we can guarantee one building sub in every school for the 24-25 school year. This means, again, in 24-25, we can guarantee one building sub position in every CCS school for a total of 113 building sub positions. We currently have 242 active building subs employed under a limited one-year contract, which means we have the ability to keep close to half of our building subs for next year. There's also a possibility to have additional building sub positions that will fill long-term vacancies for unfilled 24-25 teacher positions. The HR and academic teams will monitor teacher hiring and resignations throughout the summer, and specifically after July 10th, 2024, the date that teachers must notify the district of their resignation per Ohio Revised Code. Additionally, in planning for the ending of ESSER funding and diminished funding for the building substitute program, and in consideration of our mutual interest in retaining dedicated CCS employees, the Admin and Teachers Union worked together in November to provide an alternative licensure pathway for all building subs to take advantage of. We have now had 101 building subs express interest in the program, and currently 21 building subs are still working toward becoming teachers. We certainly thank you for the support of our school communities and our building substitutes. Next, we're eager to share a presentation with you this evening, highlighting important updates in our district. First, we'll begin by highlighting the work that is happening in Region 4. You'll hear insights from Area Superintendent Dr. Keith Harris, who will introduce Columbus International High School Principal, Mr. Doug Lowry. We will also hear from Derek Vickroy, Director of Columbus Global, and some of our impressive superintendent student ambassadors, showcasing their inspiring leadership and positive impact on the school community. Dr. Harris will provide an overview of Region 4, share regional data and highlights, and talk about regional achievement in relationship to our board goals. Next, Principal Lowry will discuss the cultural shifts at Columbus International High School, offering a glimpse into the vibrant and supportive environment that defines our school community. We'll also hear from our superintendent student ambassadors, Chris Lopez and Jasmine Smith-Hughes, who will join Columbus Global Academy students, Gavera, Valmy, and Christian Cano Ramos. They will share their experiences and briefly discuss their involvement in the Superintendent Student Ambassador Program. So now I will turn it over to Dr. Harris.
Good evening, Board President Vera, Vice President Dr. Pierce, members of the board, Superintendent Chapman, Interim Treasurer Van Hover, and Interim Internal Auditor O'Connor. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you once again to learn more about Region 4. Region 4 is one of the 6 regions across the district serving 8,810 students. We are composed of 19 schools and 1 program. Region 4 3 feeder patterns include the elementary and middle schools matriculating into Centennial, Whetstone, and Columbus International High Schools. Today, you are visiting a facility that houses not only Columbus International High School, but also Columbus Global Academy, which is the home to the district's English newcomer program for high school students. We are proud of the fact that Region 4 is home to over 2,200 English language learners. You will learn more about Columbus International High School and Columbus Global Academy programs from our administrators and students later in this presentation. As a region, we are grounded in clear vision, mission, and core values that we use to set goals for all of the work that we do. As you see highlighted on this slide, the North Star for our team, as defined in our region vision statement, is that all schools in Region 4 will achieve at least 4 stars on the Ohio State Report Card. Currently, 4 of our schools have reached 4 or more stars, and additional 10 schools have a rating of 3 or 3.5 stars. I have no doubt that, driven by our core values that center around students coming first, equity, and data, we will, as a region, reach the levels of success outlined in our vision. The exceptional administrators, staff, and students of Region 4 have been hard at work this year, working towards meeting or exceeding the district goals for 3rd grade reading proficiency, 7th grade math proficiency, and high school graduation rate. We are joined tonight by many of those exceptional leaders. Region 4 principals, core team, and staff, would you please stand to be recognized? In Region 4, we use data to pinpoint areas where administrators and teachers need support and work with departments throughout the district to get them the support they need to move the academic needle. Here are some of the highlights in Region 4 thus far this school year. Strengthening reading proficiency. In alignment to our board goals surrounding strengthening reading proficiency, Region 4 has worked strategically to increase students meeting proficiency on the Ohio State test and increasing the number of students who meet the requirements of the 3rd grade reading guarantee, ensuring they are all on track for promotion to 4th grade at the end of their 3rd grade year. In 2022, the culmination of the October administration of the Ohio State test, grade 3 English, 28.49% of students in Region 4 had reached proficiency. This year, after the October administration, 39.31% of all Region 4 students have reached proficiency, surpassing the district's goal of 36.5%. In addition, as of today, 525 of 714 students, or 73.53%, have met the requirements of the 3rd grade reading guarantee. This is a testament to the hard work of our teachers and administrators in grades pre-K through 3, focusing on the foundations of literacy and committing to advancing their own learning through the study of the science of reading. Strengthening math proficiency. Even before the board adopted the goals surrounding strengthening math proficiency, our principals and staff began to rethink the rigor of our mathematic programs and how we could leverage our iReady program to close gaps and ensure students were increasingly on track for proficiency on the Ohio State Mathematics Assessment. Thanks to the dedication and commitment of our school teams, I am proud to share that after middle of the year iReady testing, Region 4 7th graders' median growth percentile on iReady Math Assessment is more than 58%. This data shows us that if students were to continue their current rate of growth, Region 4 middle schools collectively will have a projected proficiency rate on the upcoming grade 7 math OST of 43%. We're thankful for the dedication to mathematics instruction that we see taking place across the region. Closing opportunity gaps. In Region 4, matriculation teams continue to monitor the progress of students in each cohort. Region 4 administrative teams are holding weekly matriculation meetings to track the progress of students in the cohort of 24, and at least bi-weekly meetings to increase the number of students on track to matriculate in the other cohorts. Earlier this school year, you were able to hear from the exceptional staff and students of the Centennial Feeder Pattern. Tonight, we are thrilled to have you hear from high school leadership and students from another one of our feeder patterns, Columbus International High School, and from leadership and students in our English newcomer program for high school students, Columbus Global Academy. Please welcome Dr. Douglas Lowry, Principal of Columbus International, and Mr. Derek Vickroy, Director of Columbus Global Academy.
Thank you, Dr. Harris. Good evening and welcome, Dr. Chapman, and certainly to our Columbus City Schools Board of Education members. We welcome each and every one of you here this evening. Our school family welcomes all who are here this evening. They told me there would only be 10 people at these board meetings. Missed it by a little. We would like to welcome all of you to Columbus International High School, where ROAR is our motto. And our students always strive to be respectful, organized, accepting, and responsible. My name is Doug Lowry, and I do have the pleasure of serving as the principal here at Columbus International High School. With me also this evening are my two assistant principals, Ms. Jolita Johnson and Mrs. Ingrid Luft. Would you please stand to be recognized? Our school was established 14 years ago, just 14 years ago, and has been housed in 4 different locations, including the one that we're in this evening. We educate students from as many as 77 different countries and celebrate that diversity each and every day. Last year, we were proud that our school was selected one of the top 500 high schools in the state of Ohio by U.S. News and World Report. We currently teach 6 different languages, and next year are proud to announce we'll be teaching 8. We will also have a startup vocational program for the first time on site beginning in the fall of this coming school year as well. Our students work very hard to earn the seal of biliteracy while here at Columbus International and are able, if they choose, to pursue the international diploma. At Columbus International, we cherish our past, but we celebrate the future as our staff continues to provide our students with the best educational opportunities each and every day. And now I'd like to have my staff stand, all my teachers. Our school has grown since I started here in the fall of 2022 and will reach its highest enrollment since its inception those short 14 years ago. How did we increase enrollment here? To increase enrollment, we applied a variety of strategies to recruit students from within the district and to bring those students back to the district who had previously left us. We approached students enrolled in charter and community schools, engaged our pathway strategically, intentionally recruited from our middle schools with multilingual students, and partnered with our global academy counselors and administrative staff, as well as central enrollment, to create a way for students who wanted to continue in this facility to stay at Columbus International High School. We are a unique school community that currently has grown from 279 students in the fall of 2022 to close to 441 students this year, spanning grades 9 through 12. Due to our recruiting efforts, we already know that we have at least 600 students coming to school here this fall, with almost 200 additional students on our waiting list. That's a testament to all of those folks that just stood up, and I'd like to clap for them one more time. Our hard work recruiting both inside the district and out has truly paid off. The building was renovated, the physical plant was renovated as a part of the 2018 Facilities Master Plan recommendations that relocated Columbus International High School to join Columbus Global Academy here at what was the former Brookhaven building. The merger has allowed us to strategically schedule students in the courses they need based on their unique language levels and their previous school experiences. More importantly, it has created an environment where our students have the opportunity to enroll from Columbus Global right into Columbus International High School seamlessly, keeping them right here where they've grown and built those very important relationships with other students and with our staff members. You will hear a little bit more about that later in our presentation. We as a school family at Columbus International wanted to say to you, our superintendent and the board, thank you for your support, thank you for your interest, and thank you for your leadership in allowing us to create this unique opportunity. Your dedication to the expansion of this unique program and this model within the Columbus City School District is what allows us to stand here this evening. Now I'd like you to hear from two of my awesome students and have them relate to you some of their experiences here from Columbus International High School. Here to share, Chris Lopez and Jasmine Smith-Hughes. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Christopher Lopez, and I am in 11th grade, and I'm speaking here tonight because I want to explain what sets Columbus International High School apart. Our school sets us apart because of the different classes it offers. For starters, we have Spanish, French, Russian, Korean, Japanese, and Chinese. In my Japanese class, we've learned to cook traditional food, communicate with others in Japanese, and learn how to write, and so much more. At first, I was nervous to speak Japanese because I thought I messed up a lot. I speak Spanish and English, but Japanese seemed like a whole new world. Our teacher, Ms. Bishop, took her time with everyone in the class. We all tried our best, and it was okay if we messed up. We also offer AP classes like English language, English literature, environmental science, human geography, and government. I am in AP Lang this year, where Ms. Linden makes a comfortable environment. We decode language, work with real-life speeches, and plan for our futures. In our school, you can find your interests and choose to go further with it. There is a class for everyone, and they help us to prepare for life after high school. The best thing about this school is the students. We are very diverse. Students come from all over the world and all over Columbus. We share our cultures and backgrounds. My friends are all very different, but we don't have to be the same to get along. I have many friends who also speak Spanish, and we can relate to our stories. We all have families who came from different countries and try to create a better life for us. It's cool to be in a school that teaches about all different cultures, and we can see ourselves in the work in our classes. I'm thankful that I chose to come to Columbus International High School. I've gotten to learn other languages and cultures. I plan to go to college when I graduate, and this school has made me feel like I'm almost ready to graduate. I can relate to people from other backgrounds no matter where I end up in life. I know I can be successful because I have seen how my teachers helped me grow. Thank you for thank you all for being here, and I'm glad you get to see the great things this school does. Now for my classmate, Jasmine Smith Hughes.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, my name is Jasmine Smith Hughes, and I'm a senior here at International. I found International at the CCS High School Fair in 2019. At their booth, the seniors and principal at the time, Mr. Lee, told me about languages, international seminars, and global citizenship. In all honesty, I had no idea what any of that meant. But academically, I was interested in the specialized programming offerings in humanities, such as AP English and history, psychology, and sociology, which are some of my favorite subjects. Combined with the multicultural student body and global perspectives embedded in the curriculum, I was sold. In my time here at International, I've discovered that this school is so much more than just a language school. Particularly under the leadership of Dr. Lowry, International has truly blossomed into a school of culture and belonging. The expansion of our school's clubs, cultural and performing arts events, and sports, along with the updates to our facilities, including this gym here, our auditorium, our cafeteria, and even our floors and lockers, have just added to the building's overall feeling. The evolution of our building has made our school feel more established, and in turn, student relationships and overall school culture have also grown stronger. Columbus International High School is a village, a place where any student can come in and find their place academically, culturally, socially. My interactions here with peers from all over the world have inspired me to study diplomacy and world affairs at Occidental College this upcoming fall. These amenities are uniquely available here at International, but I believe that every student in Columbus and even the entire nation should have access to global education because this is truly what the world needs: diverse, empathetic, innovative global citizens. Once again, my name is Jasmine Smith Hughes, class of 2024. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you all about my amazing school. And now I would like to introduce you all to Director Vickroy.
Thank you, Jasmine. Good evening and welcome, Dr. Chapman and members of the board. My name is Derek Vickroy, and I am privileged to serve as the director of Columbus Global Academy. This evening, I'm excited to share with you who we are as a program, our mission, and some of what we offer at Columbus Global Academy that we believe positions our students for success along their graduation pathway. Established in its current format as a 2-year program in 2021, Columbus Global Academy has continued to grow over the years. This year alone, we grew from 240 students in August to 368 students in March. Represented in this population of learners are students who speak 16 languages from 46 different countries. We're often asked 2 questions about our program. How do students arrive at Columbus Global Academy, and where do students matriculate to after attending our program? When new families arrive to enroll at Central Enrollment, their students meet with nurses, counselors, and enrollment specialists. Students are assigned to Columbus Global if it's determined that their academic and language needs will be best served in our most intensive English language support setting. After the completion of our 2-year program, students have the choice to return to their home school of residence or, and this is the choice that is happening now more than ever, students could enroll to stay right here as part of Columbus International High School. At Columbus Global Academy, we are grounded in our mission. This mission ensures that we are all focused on the following key concepts. We see language and culture as assets, not barriers. Our students are encouraged to use their native language to help build their English skills. We value ethno-linguistic preservation and ensuring our students do not lose the language of their home country and culture. We firmly believe that by prioritizing academic and emotional interventions, we help students become the best version of themselves. Our program utilizes strategies to meet the unique needs of our learners. Interventions in our program are individualized. For students who show a need in the area of reading, we have an intensive reading clinic. Reading clinic students have daily small group lessons focused on reading fundamentals. Our elective ESL course is another option unique to this program, where teachers have the flexibility to target specific skills, not only in reading, but other content areas needed for credit attainment. In addition to our academic and language interventions, we partner with outside agencies to support the whole child. Those include partnerships with Primary One Health, Nationwide Children's Behavioral Health Services, CHRIS, Communities in Schools, and the Harmony Project. While you may be most familiar with Primary One, CHRIS, and Nationwide Children's, I wanted to uplift Communities in Schools, which is an outside agency that provides Tier 2 support for academic, behavioral, and attendance needs. The Harmony Project has been a truly enriching partnership for our school, as it's a collaboration between our students and the Harmony Adult Choir. These partnerships are part of what makes Columbus Global unique. Side note, look for an invitation to our Harmony Project show at Huntington Park coming up in May. I can truly say that our partnership with the Harmony Project, now in its second year, has created an opportunity for students to express themselves through the arts and to find pride in their abilities. While we look to the community for partnerships, we also looked within our own building to support all of our students. This year, we developed an in-house student mentorship program that is student-led and focuses on properly greeting and preparing our recently enrolled students for their new school experience. Not only does this ensure a smooth transition, it also helps to forge friendships and ensure students feel connected from day one. Two of our student mentors are here tonight to speak to you. These students embody our district portrait of a graduate traits in many ways. I am thrilled to welcome Christian Cano Ramos and Guevara Valmy to share with you tonight.
Good evening. My name is Christian Cano. I'm a 10th grader of Global Academy. And I want to tell you a little bit about my story. I was born in Ohio. I grew up in Ohio for 6 years. And my family started having problems. So my mom decided to take us, me and my brothers, to Mexico. I grew up in Mexico for 8 years. Then my mom and dad decided I should continue my school in the United States. Returning back to this country, in the beginning, many things were difficult for me to learn, as I had forgotten many of the things that I learned years ago. So, what makes Global special? I think that the things that make Global special is the help that the teachers give you. When I came here, I was lost. My English was not the best, but the teachers made me believe in myself. They make me see that I can do all the things that I propose. Global is for all the people that want to learn and be successful. The teachers help you to give your best and show you how to be a good person, to show all the people that you can make your dreams come true. How does Global help bridge the gap between your home country and your future? I think that a good example that I can say is that teacher issues a lesson and tests that help us to improve all the things that we learn. I can say too that global prepares you to be a good person to the world, to be a boy or girl that is successful in the real world. They teach you how to have a good future so that you can make your dreams come true. I can truly say that since I came here, I have changed a lot. The teachers have shown me that I always need to do my best, to not just conform and be average. They have made me want to learn more and more new things, to take my studies seriously, and to always do my best. Thank you. Now I give the role to introduce my classmate Guevara Valm.
Good afternoon. English is my fourth language. I give you a copy of my speak. In English, I will share tonight in my first language, French and Spanish. Je m'appelle Guevara Valmy, je suis étudiante en 10e année à Columbus Global Academy. Je suis née en Haïti. Pour me rendre aux États-Unis, j'ai dû passer par 12 pays. J'ai été expulsée une fois au Venezuela. Nous avons repris la route pour Mexique. De là, j'ai dû attendre 8 mois. Une fois, en Amérique, j'ai été accueillie par une fondation qui s'appelle Reconcito des Sols. J'y ai vécu pendant un mois. Pendant un mois pour être arrivée à Columbus, Ohio. Columbus Global Academy m'a donné 2 opportunités comme leadership et les services communautaires et apprendre à mieux parler l'anglais et l'espagnol. Columbus Global Academy ne nous aide pas à oublier notre langue maternelle. Il nous donne des possibilités à participer dans des activités qui nous aideront à l'avenir, comme la Money Project et Student Mentor. Notre conseillère nous aide à faire des choix d'études pour être prêt pour l'université. Ensuite, quand j'aurai terminé mes études, j'aimerais devenir une hôtesse de l'air. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Guevara Barmi. Soy estudiante de 10 grade en Columbus Global Academy y nací en Haití. Para venir en Estados Unidos, yo pasaste en 2 países. Fuimos expulsados una vez en Venezuela. Retomamos el camino para ir en México. De salir tú ves que yo pasaste 8 meses para entrar en Estados Unidos. Una vez en América, encontré una fundación que se llama la Casa Blanca. Vivir durante un mes para ser libre. El Columbus Global Academy me dio oportunidad para el liderazgo, los servicios comunitarios y aprender a hablar mejor inglés y español. Columbus Global Academy no nos obliga a olvidar nuestra lengua maternal. Nos presenta actividades que nos pueden ayudar en el futuro, como la Money Project y los Student Mentor. Nos asociaron nos ayudar a tomar nuestra decisión de estudio para estar preparado para la universidad. Luego, cuando terminaste la universidad, me gusta convertirme en azafata. Thank you for being here tonight.
Now that was absolutely beautiful. Yes, that is another round of applause. So as Guerrero said, English is her 4th language. So I have the privilege to translate to English for her. Good evening, I am Mia Pruitt. I am the Supervisor of Student Leadership and Engagement, and I have the distinct honor to translate Guevara's story to English. My name is Guevara Valmy. I am a 10th grade student at Columbus Global Academy. I was born in Haiti. To get to the United States, I had to travel through 12 countries. I arrived in Mexico on my way and was deported to Venezuela from Mexico. Once I arrived in Venezuela, we took the road again to Mexico to get to the United States. From there, I had to wait 8 months to enter the United States. Once in America, I found a house through a foundation called La Casa Blanca. I lived there for a month in order to be free. The Columbus Global Academy has given me opportunities for leadership, community service, and learning to speak English and Spanish better. How has Columbus Global Academy helped bridge the gap between my new home, my country, and my future? Columbus Global Academy does not force us to forget our native language. Here, we are introduced to activities that will help us in the future, such as the Harmony Project, the Save Your Heart, and student mentorship. Our advisors help us to make our study choices to be ready for the universities. We take classes to help us in our futures. When I finish university, I would like to become a flight attendant. Columbus Global Academy helps me to reach my goals, and I am proud to be a student here. Now, to close out our presentation, please welcome back our leaders, Dr. Lowry and Dr. Vic Roy. And before we do that, if we could give whoever just another round of applause.
You know, after 47 years, the most rewarding part of this is that we get to work with amazing young people like that each and every day, and they're right here in the Columbus City School District. In this building, we have learned and we have grown together since our co-location approximately 4 years ago. 4 years ago, Mr. Vickroy? Yes, sir. And we continue to plan for our seamless growth forward. As we plan for the year to come, we're excited about many things. We're excited that every student will be able to enroll in classes based upon the supports or the enrichment opportunities that they need to reach their individual potential. We're also excited that our integrated unified arts opportunities will ensure that we operate as one school in harmony. We are thrilled that 123 students who have enrolled from the Global Academy to Columbus International High School will be able to participate in sports, clubs, and all of the other activities that students in any high school across the United States would have the opportunity to be part of.
For our students who wish to return to the neighborhood school, we will continue to ensure that they can do that after receiving unique supports provided by the Columbus Global staff. Furthermore, we are encouraged by the ways that our counselors are collaborating to create master schedules and enrollments that ensure whatever dreams our students have, we are able to align coursework to prepare them for success. Having been brought together in this facility was a gift in that we have been able to lean on each other, two leaders in one facility with one goal, to lift up multilingualism and forge unlimited pathways for all learners. We know that as we continue to grow and expand the uniqueness of our programs, we will forge generations of successful Columbus City School graduates. Again, welcome, thank you, and we hope that you are just as excited as we are to see this program continue to grow and shine in our district.
Again, thank you to all of the amazing staff, students, administrators from Columbus International High School and Global Academy for sharing from our students those powerful testimonies about your experience here. We so appreciate you. Let's give another round of applause to the entire team. And President Vera, this concludes our update from Region 4, and now I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Well, thank you. I echo Dr. Chapman's sentiments of just the power and the magic that's happening in this building. And I myself personally have received recruitment materials from your school for my kids. So keep up the great work. Before we move on, I do want to be mindful if any students have to leave or any families have to leave. This would be an opportune time to do that as we transition. I do want to thank our families and students who were able to participate in our office hours today. As I mentioned in past meetings, we have office hours before every single board meeting between 5:15 and 5:45. And today we had quite a few students and families, so thank you for those who attended. At this time, we will transition into our public comment. Our first public comment speaker is Amy Mondillo. Board action. Topic is school staffing. Board action is here are my concerns and reasons why I canvassed and voted in favor of school levy. Hi, Miss Amy, how are you?
Good, thank
Good.
you.
You have 3 minutes. Feel free to start whenever you'd like.
Good evening, President Vera, members of the board, and Dr. Chapman. My name is Amy Mondillo. I live in Columbus. I canvass in support of the school levy. I voted for the levy. I also attended Columbus City Schools and elementary school a long time ago, and I have taught in Columbus City Schools for over 20 years. I am here tonight with a very important ask. I am asking the board to find a way to retain every single one of our building substitutes at their current locations. Larger schools have larger staffing needs. I understand funding in Ohio is problematic, actually unconstitutional. And the city of Columbus is liberal with tax abatements. And as a taxpayer, I definitely want the district to be fiscally responsible. But we need to find a way to retain all of our building substitutes because they have become an integral part of our school communities. Recently, when I returned from being out with the flu, which a building substitute was assigned, I asked my class if they did a nice job for the sub. Their response was, "We did not have a sub. We had Mrs. Delaney. She had us get all of our work done. She knew our names. She had your phone number. She knew how this room was run." In my absence, all of the work was done and learning continued without a glitch. Our building subs have built relationships with our students. They have been trained in the science of reading, which is needed to support early literacy goals. I have seen our building sub, Mr. Fightmaster, work with our first graders, tutoring them in reading. Our subs have been trained in PBIS, SEL strategies, and they are able to support Tier 2 and 3 students in and out of the classrooms. They attend professional development, and they are involved in all areas of the school. We are in the midst of the worst teacher shortage in history. Columbus City Schools currently has a labor pool of well-trained professionals who know our students. Why would we let them go? I have had other experiences in my classroom where we did not have building substitutes. I've had times where I've had 6, 8, 10 extra students in my room from various grade levels, taking my class size up as high as 40. I had one time where I had 6 additional 4th graders assigned to my room for 9 weeks because no substitute would take the assignment. And their teacher was on a medical leave. This is not acceptable, and our students deserve better. I am here speaking to you because I really do not want to see that happen again. We have trained professionals in place. Please retain all of them. Thank you very much for your time.
And next we will hear from Kelsey Gray. Topic, building substitute staffing. Board action, make 0 cuts in building substitutes for next year.
Good evening.
Good evening, President Vera, Vice President Dr. Pierce, board members, and Dr. Chapman. My name is Kelsey Gray. I'm an English teacher at Independence High School, obviously a member of CEA. I first want to acknowledge, before I get into this, that the board in front of me is not the board that drove us to the picket line. The election brought us 2 new members and a new leader who has personally been in my room with my students building connections. I also want to acknowledge that the board has moved on the building sub proposal, and for that I'm very thankful, but it in no way is good enough for our schools. We need more than 1 building sub. We need every single one that we have now and more. I'm joined not only in the room by my colleagues, obviously behind me, but I'm also joined in paper by 2,000 more, over 2,000. Over the past week, CEA members filled out a survey with 1 question. What does your building substitute mean to you and or your building? Now, I was originally going to stand up here and use the rest of my 2 minutes to tell you about my building sub. Her name is Miss Ashley Martin, and she's with us this evening. But my students actually asked me if I could fill my time with their voices instead. So I have a small pile of sticky notes with messages that they would like you to hear. Miss Martin always made sure to provide a safe environment for her students. She even made the decision to take over a whole subject, probably not her decision, and become our everyday teacher when our original teacher decided to quit mid-year. Our class was on the verge of not being able to learn, and Miss Martin changed that. We love her. Miss Martin means a lot to me. She is one of the strongest, most helpful, most kind-hearted teachers here at Independence High School. Miss Martin is like a big sister to most of us. She tries to understand who we really are before teaching us. Miss Martin is an amazing teacher. She shows how she cares about us and her job. Miss Martin is the reason I come to school. Miss Martin is the reason I love school. Throughout my 3 years of going to IHS, I've known Miss Martin since my freshman year. That was more than enough time for me to notice how she has taken charge so many times throughout this school. She even stood up to teach an entire class when a replacement teacher couldn't be found. Miss Martin has had such a great impact on me since my freshman year. It was extremely important to what I've become today. Miss Martin is always willing to help. She makes our work very engaging, and if it weren't for her, we wouldn't have an American government teacher this year. Miss Martin genuinely cares for every student she ever met. Even when I'm just being lazy, she influences me to make sure my work is done and she helped me learn that you should always try just in case. I'm going to ask if I can go over time for 4 more.
Go ahead.
Miss Martin truly is nothing less than a great teacher. I can't help but appreciate how considerable, kind, understanding she is both in and outside of the classroom. Miss Martin gives me the confidence I need to come to school. Miss Martin is very kind and willing to help anyone that needs it. We should have more teachers like her at our school. And lastly, Miss Martin is truly an amazing teacher. I don't want any other kids to miss out on what it feels like to have a teacher like Miss Martin. Thank you. And thank you, Miss Martin.
Miss Martin,
I do have...
Miss Gray, you said Miss Martin is here. Before we move on, Miss Martin is here, is that right?
She is.
Can you stand up, Miss Martin, just so we can properly say thank you for your service to our students? All right, at this time, we'll hear from Jakia Hearn. Topic, building substitutes. Make 0 staff reduction to building substitutes. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jakia Hearn. This is my 8th year in education and working for CCS. I've taught at a few different schools and a few different grade levels, but I currently teach 1st grade at East Haven Elementary School, where we have 2 wonderful building subs. One of our building subs has been in the classroom since the first day of school, providing consistent instruction to a class. I don't know where we would be if we didn't have building subs, but also if we were only cut down to just one building sub per building. If we were cut down to just one sub, that would mean almost every day there would be at least one class split throughout our building. I can count on one hand the amount of times we've had a non-building sub cover a class this year. I don't have to think back too far to remember a time before we had building subs. It's important to note that in elementary, when there are no building subs, you aren't covering a class for a colleague. These students are split up, given packets, and with you for the entire day. The students who are split up aren't receiving instruction and are instead now in learning loss. Let me paint a scene for you of a time before building subs that's happened to me multiple times. I had my own homeroom of 25 third graders, add on top 4 first graders and 4 fourth graders. Lots of questions run through my mind for the day. First, where am I even going to fit all of the students in my room? I've had students sit everywhere, from my kidney table that was designed for small group instruction to the carpet where we typically gathered for read alouds, and I even had students who would sit at my desk from time to time because there was no more space. The next question is, how will I be able to deliver quality instruction with so many other bodies and distractions in the classroom? How will it still be safe at recess and lunch with an extra class full of students being added to the mix and no extra hands to assist? How am I going to be able to effectively use my planning time with extra students that are now in my care? Unfortunately, this was not an exception in an elementary school, but a regular occurrence before building subs. Our building subs are vital to the success of Columbus City Schools. Building subs are vital to safety. They are another adult who knows the routines and procedures of a school, as well as another adult that has built relationships with students in the school. They make it safe so we aren't cramming 35 plus kids in a classroom and having unmanageable ratios at lunch and recess. Building subs are vital to provide instruction to our students instead of just being handed packets and sitting in the back of a class. Building subs are vital to helping to alleviate teacher burnout. Teachers get burnt out knowing they will constantly have extra kids added in their classroom, or their planning time gone, or that they won't even get a chance to have a few minutes to collect their thoughts without students. I remember a time before building subs, and I definitely don't want to go back there. I'm asking you all to save all of our building subs because they have saved us daily.
Next, we will hear from Alex Doherty. Topic is building substitutes. Board action, retain building substitutes. Good evening.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Alex Doherty. I'm a building substitute at Indianola K-8, which happens to actually been the elementary school where I went when I went to Columbus City Schools. I'm here today to speak to you regarding my experience as a building substitute teacher to request the retainment of all building substitute positions in Columbus City Schools. I began this position almost exactly 3 years ago, and over those past 3 years, I've substituted in every room at Indianola, and every student has been my student at some point. I recognize every face, they all recognize mine. My presence means that they don't miss that day of learning. It isn't just the teachers who tell me what it means to have me in the room. It's the students who literally cheer when they see that they have me as their substitute that day. Literally. We don't have to split classes. We don't have to be stuck with a packet. We don't have to go to an unfamiliar room. When I'm there, they get to continue their read aloud of Wild Robot. They get to work on their Black History Museum project. They get to have their first day of the year using the drums in music class. It's the kids who tell me how excited they are that their learning isn't interrupted on days where their wonderful teachers can't make it to school. And those moments remind me every day of the impact that I have at Indianola and in this district. Now, if my story were a one-off, I wouldn't be here today. I would take my fuzzy feelings, I would go home, I would play video games. But as y'all can see, it's not just me. And in fact, could I have any other building substitutes please stand to be recognized today? I am in a unit with more than 240 other building substitutes across the city that are improving the lives and education of students all over our district. You can talk to any one of us, and the first thing we'll tell you is a story from that day about one of our students and what they were able to learn that day. But that's what's at stake here, isn't it? Because when you reduce building substitute teachers, what you are doing is you are reducing a teacher. I have an assignment almost every single day. My absence would mean 182 days of missed education by an entire classroom. And that's one building substitute. A reduction in force of 120 building substitutes could result in up to 21,840 unfilled vacancies next year alone. I do not find that acceptable, to be honest. These positions are vital to the education and communities of students across the city, and I believe it would be a mistake. I have 2 paragraphs left. May I finish?
Quickly, yes.
I believe it would be a mistake to reduce these positions. And honestly, based on what I'm hearing tonight, I would recommend even an expansion of this program. To point, I ask the board to retain every single building substitute in the district, and further ask the board to consider expanding the program in order to continue the learning and education of every single student every single day. Thank you for your time.
Now we will hear from Michael Young. Now we will hear from Michael Young. Topic, I love my HBCU, board action. Attend the I love my HBCU at Afrocentric on Friday, March 22nd, 2024. Good evening.
Good evening. I'd like to open tonight by giving honor to these phenomenal educators that are in the room with us. We're grateful for the contributions that they make to the young people in our community. Madam Superintendent, to the honorable members of the Columbus City Schools Board of Education, good evening and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present this resolution on behalf of the CBUS Faith-Based Collaborative, which currently includes several local congregations. Whereas the month of March is designated as National Why I Love My HBCU Month, recognizing the invaluable contributions of historically Black colleges and universities to the fabric of American education. Whereas HBCUs have been pivotal in fostering academic excellence and providing unparalleled opportunities to countless students, particularly in communities of color. Whereas Columbus City Schools, the largest school district in our proud state of Ohio, has consistently demonstrated its commitment to prioritizing equitable opportunities for all and authentic engagement. Be it resolved that the CBUS Faith-Based Collaborative officially acknowledges and celebrates the significance of HBCUs and their impact on our community and our nation. Be it further resolved that we extend our deepest gratitude to Columbus City Schools for their partnership and support of the 2024 CBUS HBCU College Fair. Be it finally resolved, we cordially invite the esteemed members of this board and your staff to join us at Columbus Afrocentric on Friday, March 22nd, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to engage with over 20 HBCU representatives and hundreds of high school students. We are eager to offer an environment that is filled with vibrant traditions of HBCUs while supporting the whole child. Additionally, we extend an enthusiastic invitation to the entire community to participate in Rep Your HBCU Sunday on Sunday, March 24th. We ask that everyone exhibit their HBCU pride by posting a photograph on social media wearing any HBCU apparel and use the hashtag CBUSHBCU. Your presence will greatly honor us, and as we strive to enlighten and inspire our students towards higher educations at HBCUs, where they will not only pursue academic careers, but they'll build a legacy of excellence and community engagement. In the spirit of education and community, we thank you for your time and your consideration. Humbly and respectfully submitted, Pastor Michael Young, City of Grace.
Thank you. Next, we will hear from Christopher Montero. Topic, substitute teacher cuts. Board action, retain all the substitute positions and seek necessary budget cuts in administrative bloat. Good evening.
Good evening. President Vera, Vice President Dr. Pierce, and respected board members, thank you for your time regarding the decision to cut substitute teaching positions. I'm a proud English teacher at Northland High School, and I love working for this community. I appreciate that any budget tightening requires hard choices, and I applaud your steps to roll back the original plan to cut subs positions by over half. However, more needs to be done. Substitutes are vital to our school ecosystems, and any cuts to their numbers should be considered a failure by this board to create an effective budget. Let me establish some common understanding with some class participation. I invite both the board and the audience to join. Please raise your hand if you can say yes to the following questions. In the last 5 years, have you reported to a school building daily for work? In the past 5 years, have you worked as an educator in the classroom? All right, I see you, Pierce. In the last 5 years, have you had to substitute for teachers and complete your regular job duties at the same time? So I think we have a clear understanding. We are the experts on our classroom, building, and community needs, and the board does not have the experience needed to make unilateral decisions on our personnel. The pandemic fundamentally changed the school environment. While substitutes have always been important, they are now indispensable for students and staff. My first year in CCS was in the midst of the substitute shortage, requiring me to cover classes almost daily. I was already drowning, but spending my planning time trying to manage an unknown class while maintaining other professional responsibilities was a nightmare. I seriously reconsidered whether this district and even this profession was the right fit for me, as my work piled up and I lost the time I needed to make my classes great. Compare that to this year. I have yet to be required to cover a class, and I am thriving in my school. Our students have developed beautiful relationships with our building subs, who work incredibly hard and provide warm, familiar faces when their teacher cannot. With the youth mental health crisis causing widespread absenteeism, the decision to cut frontline educators is baffling. Where are the cuts to our overbloated administration? I've never seen the board turn down an expansion of admin positions, yet we who work with students have to bear the financial burden. We're in a teacher shortage already, and making our lives harder through budgetary mismanagement is an easy way to lose the best of us to other districts. The board has since changed since I started with CCS, and I believe the new members and leadership are making good faith efforts to right the ship from prior mismanagement. Therefore, I ask you to help our district thrive. Work with the experts in CEA and cut unilateral decision-making. Maintain current substitute levels and look instead at administrative bloat for your budget. If you choose to cut even a single substitute position, I hope you're ready to step into a classroom yourself the day we don't have enough. Thank you for your time.
So now we will hear from Jesus Zaid. Topic, limited amount of athletic trainers at schools. Board action, hire more athletic trainers, and even build relationships with trainers who are at universities that could help at the school. Good evening.
Good evening. First of all, thank you all for your time and for the hard work that you put in for our children and the care that you give our children. All right, is this better? All right, once again, thank you all for the hard work that you put in for our children and all of what you do. And also, Dr. Lowry, my son goes here, so all the stuff that they talked about, my son's a first-year student here, is real. Shout out to Dr. Lowry. Sorry to sound like a hip-hop person, but I'm talking fast. And also his assistants, teachers down here, Ms. Severian, sorry I'm speeding, and Mr. Welch, Ms. Duncan, I'm forgetting another one, the band teacher, all of that. But the teachers, the building subs, everybody, they do a great job. My son is having the best grades he's ever had since he's been in school, and it's been great. Now, sorry, y'all cutting in on my time. Thank you. But what I really want to talk about is this. I went to a school called Shaw High School in East Cleveland, Ohio. I graduated in 1997. After that, from 1998 to 2021, that's a 23-year period, we had 2 students that were basketball players that had heart attacks on the court. One died, the one that was the year after I graduated high school. The second one in 2021 actually survived, and his life was saved by an athletic trainer. One of my best friends, who returned to my former high school to become the athletic director, saw, and he remembered, we were a year out of high school when the first kid died. So that was like top of mind of like making sure there was always somebody around. Prior to him becoming the athletic director, it was shaky having athletic trainers on site. So that was a top of mind thing. That person saved his life, made national news. It was a big deal. Saying all that to say this, I'm about 5 to 10 feet away from where my son suffered an injury on this same basketball court during the season. We share trainers. I'm sure the other schools do too, but we share trainer with Beechcroft High School. And that day, our trainer was not here. My son is 6'9", 325 pounds. So when I know that the trainer's not here and he goes down, I'm like, okay, let's make sure he gets off the court safely. And if I have to carry him off, I will, because that's a big boy. So it took a minute. He got off the court. I checked to see how he was. Things weren't looking good, and his health assessment was left in the hands of an athletic director. Athletic directors may or may not be able to assess things. They have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things going on at the same time. So in that happening, I actually I wanted to do some things for my son, and I was prevented because of the quote unquote limitations that they couldn't allow me to do certain things. I don't even want to get into that right now. But in saying all this, I noticed I'm a problem solver. I noticed there's a lack of maybe funds for athletic trainers. I will be brief. I have some suggestions, possibly starting internship programs with local universities that have athletic training programs. Also, creating partnerships, maybe with Nationwide Children's Medicine. I'm not sure, but I know my son has had to go there for rehab at times. Another thing is starting booster clubs at some of these schools. I know here at this school, like while I praise the academic situation, the athletic situation is a little bit behind the times, and there is no parent participation that's encouraged for us to maybe chip in if we can financially, or do fundraisers or do something where we're helping ourselves instead of just going, hey, you guys do the job. Because I don't want to just say you guys do the job. I would like, as a parent, to have a part in making sure my son and his teammates and the other kids are taken care of too. I would say, in wrapping up, that some of these ideas may not be possible at the moment, but let's not act like, oh, well, we can't do this. Let's move on. Let's develop and build these ideas. And I will volunteer my time to try and do these things to help all the kids all over the district.
Mr. Zaire,
yeah.
Your time is up, and thank you so much for your advocacy, and certainly we will follow up someone from the district. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we will hear from Anika Drafton. Topic: ACC, Augmentative and Alternative Communication, Speech Generating Device for Device Users. Board action: prioritize making sure that these devices are available to the students and recognize that they are linked to our families. Good evening.
Good evening. Just as a correction, it's actually AAC devices and speech generating devices. Again, my name is Anika Drafton. I am a parent of a non-speaking child that uses an AAC device or a speech generating device for her primary mode of communication. Before I say anything more, I want to first start with thanking you for hiring an AAC specialist. As the family, that's incredible for us. We are spread out, we are overwhelmed. When we get into Columbus City School District, we don't get a whole lot of direction, right? There's not a lot in our path that's already predetermined, and it's going to be incredibly helpful to have this specialist. We would like to hear what this specialist is supposed to be doing. I haven't heard that communicated yet, and I have had an opportunity to talk to Renda. She was very open to my ideas excuse my voice, I'm very nervous, but I'm going to get through this. I just need you to know how incredibly important it is for us to really focus on giving our kids the ability to communicate. I know that that is part of your portrait of a graduate. I know that communication is one of the attributes. But what I need for you to understand is the impact of giving our children functional communication. Not only does that impact and improve their quality of life, it gives them overall agency, right? And freedom. I want to take my last minute and talk to you about the experience that I've had at my current school, which is Valley Forge Elementary. Valley Forge, we transferred actually in the middle of the pandemic. Sorry. And I've had a wonderful experience there. My daughters had a wonderful experience there. And by that I mean we have been met with an administrator in Dr. Smith who has been open and receptive to my parent advocacy. We've had a speech therapist in Jessica who has been incredibly helpful and has been very responsive to me, asking that my child and children like mine not be relegated and isolated into that room, but that they become a part of the overall culture in that school. And they've done an amazing job with that. And to demonstrate that, I'd like to just tell you about this spring concert, I believe, about a year ago, where my nonverbal child was the loudest child in the choir during that concert. And if I tell you, not one child turned around and looked at her, and nor did any teacher or parent. It was an amazing experience for her. May I? Yes, go ahead. It was an amazing experience for her and for me to see her be so wholly accepted. My fear and my belief is that every child is not having that experience. The other thing is, because we are so spread out, I'm not even sure that we are, as a district, keeping numbers on the kids that use these devices. I'm not able to get that information, and I look for it because we have developed a nonprofit to help families learn how to use these devices, and you are our only link. That's what I need you to know. We don't go to the same schools. We're not in the same buildings. We don't live in the same neighborhoods. We don't have the same teachers or therapists. You are the common denominator. We need to know each other. Our kids need to know each other. We need to be able to share resources. We need to be able to help each other. Our journey is tough, it's challenging, but together we can figure it out. I'm not asking you to be the answer to all of it. I'm asking you to be a partner in us finding the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Maria Aguilar. Topic, Korean program, board action, create a full-time Korean class. Good evening, Ms. Aguilar.
Hello, I will help her translate.
Hola, yo soy nombre María Aguilar, mamá de Marlin, un estudiante coreano de segundo año. Estoy muy en esta junta, apoyo a la creación del programa de coreano en tiempo completo aquí en un internacional de la escuela. Ofrece coreano desde hace 10 años y todavía enseña con los niveles de coreanos. Durante el periodo de clases, esto es un programa otro idioma que les enseña a quien tiene nivel de clases preparados para los estudiantes. Puede tener la atención del maestro durante el periodo completo cada día de la semana. En coreano, los estudiantes del nivel 1 y 4 reciben clases durante el mismo periodo por el mismo profesor, que debe dividir en tiempos de atención de 4 clases diferentes. Será impensable que el distrito ofrece 4 clases de matemáticas durante diferentes durante el mismo periodo de destrucción, también inaceptable para nuestras clases del idioma. Algunos estudiantes necesitan apoyo de atención, adiciones para aprender, y yo quiero que el mejor para mi hija y sus compañeros de clase, que los estudiantes les encanta aprender coreano. Mi hija no sabe no solo coreano en la escuela, sino también participará en un evento comunitario coreano y selecciona las idiomas sin embargo, creo que aprenderá muchos más. Los estudiantes de clase de estudiante no es lo mismo nivel con su profesor. Solo para enseñar ese nivel de coreano, en coreano es un idioma muy popular en internacional high school. En la demanda de los estudiantes para estar en clases es un fuerte de momento de actual. Ahora solicito responsablemente que la Junta de Apoyo de creación de un programa completo de idioma coreano en contra de los maestros y tiempo completo para compartir el programa. Muchas gracias por su comprensión.
Hello, my name is Maria, and I am the parent of Marlon Aguilar, a second-year Korean student. I am here today to ask the board to support the creation of full-time Korean program here at International. The school has offered Korean for nearly 10 years now, and they are still teaching all levels of Korean. May I? During one class period. This is a problem. Other languages now have separate levels of classes so the students can have the undivided attention of the teacher for a full period each day of the week. In a Korean, students at level 1 to 4 are taught during the same period by the same teacher, who must divide her time and attention between 4 different classes. It will be unthinkable for the district to offer 4 distinctly different math classes during the same period of instruction. And it's unacceptable for our language classes as well. Some students need extra support and attention to learn, and I want the best for my daughter and her classmates. Only her Korean at school, but she also participates in Korean community events and language lessons. However, I believe that she will learn more if she were in a class with students of her same level and with a teacher only teaching that level of Korean. Korean is a popular language at international high school, and the students' demand for the class is shown the time to take action and now. I respectfully request the board support the creation of full Korean language program and hire a full-time teacher to instruct the program. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Gracias, señorita Aguilar. All right, now we will move into board matters. Item 5.1, a resolution to recognize March as Women's History Month. Today we have 2 students, Fan Kane, a junior from Columbus Afrocentric Early College High School, and Haja Kamartu, a junior from Fort Hays. Board Member Adair has the resolution.
Thank you so much. I have the resolution to recognize March as Women's History Month. Whereas March is National Women's History Month, the theme for Women's History Month 2024 is Women Who Advocate for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. This theme recognizes the invaluable contributions of women who have dedicated themselves to advocating for equity, diversity, and inclusion in each aspect of society. Women from diverse backgrounds have long been at the forefront of efforts to address systemic inequity and promote a more inclusive and just society. The courageous advocacy of women for particular goals such as equity, diversity, and inclusion serve as an inspiration for individuals and communities. In 2024, we honor the women who have tirelessly worked to dismantle barriers, challenge prejudice, and create opportunities for individuals, regardless of their background, and attacks against diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and training in our institutions. And now, therefore, it be resolved that the Columbus Board of Education does hereby recognize and honor March 2024 as Women's History Month in the Columbus City School District. Be it further resolved that this board encourages communities and organizations to celebrate the achievement of women who have championed equity, diversity, and inclusion, and reaffirm our commitment to advancing these principles in our society. Let us honor the women who have dedicated themselves to advocating for equity, diversity, and inclusion, and let us continue to work together to build a more just, equitable, and inclusive world. That is a motion.
There's a motion, there is a second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Ingalls?
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce? Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
President Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Do you ladies have any words?
Good evening. My name is Fanon Kane. And as we gather here today to celebrate Women's History Month, I am blessed knowing the impact this month has on our society. Women's History Month not only highlights the contribution women have brought upon history, but also allows us to acknowledge the suffrage of gender inequality and empowerment of women altogether. Women's History Month serves as a reminder of the work that still needs to be done to achieve true gender equality. It's a call to action to challenge stereotypes, dismantle barriers, and create a more inclusive society where every woman and young woman can thrive and fulfill her potential. And with the addition of Women's History Month, I have had the pleasure of being a part of the Superintendent Student Ambassadors Organization, which has groomed me into becoming more outspoken, a better listener, a confident young lady, and a successful scholar. Throughout this program, I was challenged with the biggest quest, having patience. With the blessing of patience, you are able to allow the opportunities that fit in your criteria to come to light and expand your mind. This organization has also been instrumental in fostering leadership skills, promoting civic engagement, and instilling a sense of responsibility to serve and advocate for others in my community. In particularly, I want to express my deep appreciation for Mama Mia and the leadership you have demonstrated with the organization. Your dedication, vision, and commitment to empowering students have inspired me and countless others to strive for excellence and make a difference in the world around us. Your mentorship and guidance have not only shaped my personal growth, but also instilled in me the importance of using my voice and talents to affect positive change in society. Through your exemplary leadership, you have shown me the value of integrity, compassion, and empathy in leadership. Your unwavering support and encouragement has given me the confidence to step out of my comfort zone, take on new challenges, and pursue on my passions and determination. In conclusion, Women's History Month serves as a powerful reminder of indomitable spirits of women throughout history and the transformative impact of women's leadership. As we celebrate this month, let us reaffirm our commitment to honoring the past, empowering the present, and shaping a more inclusive future for us all.
All right, that was amazing. Please let's give one more round of applause for Fanon. All right, I'm Hajra. Hi, hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hajra Sukumar from Fort Hays Art and Academic High School. It's my pleasure to be here and to talk about Women's History Month and also being part of Student Ambassador. Growing up as a young African woman, I had the misconception that men were entirely responsible for all the contributions in the world. I was unaware of the significant role women play in making the world a better place. I failed to recognize the significant contributions made by women such as Ada Lovelace, the first computer programmer, Margaret Thatcher, the first female prime minister, and Dr. Mae Jemison, the first African-American woman to travel into space, and many, many more. If not for Women's History Month, I would believe that only men like Thomas Edison, Albert Einstein, and Benjamin Franklin were responsible for all the inventions and achievements in the world. I am not downgrading the effort made by men, but women must also be recognized for their hard work, contributions, and struggles. Knowing about Women's History Month has been a game changer for me. Someone who grew up in a male dominated environment and wants to make a change. Working towards those change pushed me to take risks and became a superintendent student ambassador. This program has enhanced my leadership skills and made me realize and understand that being a leader doesn't have a certain age, gender, or anything. You can be a leader even if you have leaders around you. Being part of SSA has taught me how to be a highway leader, how to put myself out there and take risks. I now dare to voice my opinion and concerns, to step up for myself and others if our leaders are not highway leaders. It has opened my eyes to the world of leadership and also given me a chance to be a leader and be part of a solution that involves me as a student. Lastly, our supervisors have shown me that I can be part of a change that usually involves the older, more influential people in our communities. Mamma Mia, Dr. Hill, and others have made sure that we are part of a decision being made for us, the students. They make sure we're always heard and seen. Having them as mentors has been a blessing more than any student could ask for. They go out there and make sure we have many opportunities to better ourselves, including this very event. Thank you, Dr. Chapman, for giving us our Mamma Mia. She having only been a supervisor, but also an amazing leader and role model to us all. A great thank you to her for giving me the opportunity to be up here and share my thought. Thank you all. Have an amazing evening.
Great job, ladies. All right, so we are going to move on to item 5.2. Let's see here. So it's a resolution to revise the adopted annual calendar of school board conferences, conventions, and workshops for the 2023-2024 school year. Resolved that the Board of Education adopts the revised annual calendar for the 2023-2024 school year. That's a motion. Is there a second? Please call the roll.
Vice President Dr. Pierce.
I'm sorry, did you say my name?
Which name? No, Vice President Dr. Pierce.
Oh. Do you want to have discussion, Dr.
Yes,
Pierce?
could we please?
We're going to have a quick discussion around this. One moment. Okay.
So the point of discussion is just that we need to log some updated information and corrections in that. So before this is made official and put into the minute meetings, can we make those updates and corrections?
Okay. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Vice President Dr. Pierce.
Yes.
Ms. Reyes.
Yes.
Mr. Simmons.
Yes.
President Vera.
Yes.
Ms. Adair. Ms. Ingalls.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, now we will move to item 5.3, authority to enter into a purchase agreement with the Ohio State University. Item 5.3 is being considered separate from the consent agenda at the request of Board Member Dr. Pierce. And you want to make the motion, Dr. Pierce?
She can't.
You don't make the motion. I will make the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Reyes. Mr. Simmons.
Yes.
President Vera.
Yes.
Ms. Adair.
Yes.
Ms. Ingalls.
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce.
Abstaining.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we will move into item 6.1. Good evening again, Dr. Chapman. I'll hand it over to you for our monitoring report.
Good evening again, President Vera, members of the board. Tonight, we are sharing the district monitoring report focused on improving math achievement. In response to the identified need for enhanced math performance across our schools, the district has implemented targeted strategies to improve student outcomes in math. This report outlines the progress and impact of these initiatives on student learning and achievement in math, reflects our commitment to data-driven decision-making and continuous improvement, showcasing the efforts to not only meet but exceed our educational goals in math, ensuring that all students have the skills and knowledge they need to succeed academically. Tonight, Dr. Brown and I will share our baseline information for the performance of our students in grades 4, 5, and 6 towards our middle school math goal. I would like to name and acknowledge that this is a new goal area for Columbus City Schools. Following the pandemic, there was a substantial drop in math proficiency across the nation. Prior to the pandemic, there had been a gradual increase in math achievement for 13-year-olds over the past 3 decades. Following the pandemic, 13-year-olds across the country were performing comparably to 13-year-olds in 1990. So there was a regression. This was a substantial decline in performance, erasing over 3 decades of progress nationally. And the negative impact on math achievement was disproportionately felt in districts like ours. Ohio also saw a drop in math achievement, with fewer than 50% of 7th graders performing at grade level last year. For our district, our proficiency rates in math have declined by over 10% in comparison to pre-pandemic performance. We are grateful that the board recognized the importance of establishing strong mathematical foundations for student success in high school and established a 7th grade math goal for our students. Today, we are reporting on the superintendent interim goals, which are for grades 4, 5, and 6, leading up to the board goal in grade 7. Given that this is a new goal for the system, we are now developing a plan and aligning resources to support improvement in math instruction. As the board has seen with our work in early literacy, supporting changes in instructional practices takes the alignment of resources, professional development, and time to accomplish throughout the system. Currently, the strategies and approaches being leveraged to meet our math goal include ensuring all students have access to rigorous grade-level curriculum and that the curriculum scope and sequence is being implemented across the district. We are using consistent instructional routines that emphasize student discourse. This means that students are encouraged to share and justify their problem-solving strategies in math and analyze the reasoning of their peers as they work collaboratively. And finally, we are strengthening student and teacher engagement with iReady personalized pathways as time spent on personalized practice is showing a strong correlation with student growth. While we are early in the consistent practice of these strategies across our elementary and middle schools, we are beginning to see some improvement in student outcomes in math. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Brown to guide us through the story our data is telling us about 4th, 5th, and 6th grade achievement in math.
Good evening. This is the board goal language that was adopted in November of last year, emphasizing again the importance of improving mathematics proficiency for our students in 7th grade. The goal moves our proficiency rate from 14.7% in the school year 22-23 to 23.45% in June of 2028. You'll notice that the goal increases gradually at first, again allowing for that time for us to develop the resources and the professional development and changes in practice, and then accelerates over time. Our interims are based on iReady because we know that iReady has a very strong correlation to OST outcomes. And for the state of Ohio as a whole, those correlations are around 0.85, which is incredibly strong. So it's a great predictor of subsequent performance on the OST in grades 4, 5, 6, and 7 as well. The first interim goal is for 4th grade mathematics. And these charts are all going to be laid out the same way. The line on the left, which is in blue, reflects our historical performance and culminates with this year, mid-year performance of 30.3% proficient. Proficient or stretch growth for that matter. That's a 2.1 percentage point improvement from 2023. The orange line to the right shows the interim goals moving forward over time. And again, you'll see that acceleration as we move forward. If we look at the breakdown of the data for different student groups, and the color didn't follow through very well on the screen here, what you'll see is that our performance at this point in time exceeds the interim goal, the first interim goal that was set forth. In fact, we achieved 112% of the interim goal at this point. You'll also notice that most student groups have also exceeded the interim goal. And at this point in time, again, it's a good start for this work. Looking forward to grade 5, we see a very similar pattern. And again, the blue line on the left shows historical performance starting the pandemic and then moving forward to the mid-year of this year, with 30.4% of our students, again, having either met the proficiency level or stretch growth at mid-year. This is a 1.4 percentage point gain from last year, and again, shows an improvement over the prior year, the prior couple of years for that matter. It also exceeds the interim goal at this point in time, and again, the interim goals are outlined in orange to the right, moving forward to the 2028 school year. Again, if we look at the breakdown by student group, again, most student groups are exceeding the performance, the interim goal performance overall. Most are in excess of 100% at this point in time. There are, in addition, overall, we have exceeded the interim goal. At this point, we've achieved 108.6% of the interim goal at this point in time. There are some exceptions in this data. As we've seen with other data, homeless students are a challenging population for us and one that we consider one that we need to lean into as we move forward. Finally, 6th grade mathematics. Again, the blue line to the left shows historical performance culminates in 36.9% proficient at this point, proficient or having met stretch growth at mid-year. This is a 0.3 percentage improvement from the percentage point improvement from the prior year, and again exceeds the interim goal for the first year. And again, if we look at the overall performance overall, again, we're exceeding the interim goal. We're at 108.5% of the interim goal, and the majority of student groups, again, are in excess of 100% of the interim goal at this point as well. Again, we do have challenges with our homeless population. This is a population that often struggles on a lot of these metrics. We've seen it before, and one that we have leaned into over time. This is the culmination of the data for the interim goals, and at this point, I'm going to pass it back to Dr. Chapman to finish.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Again, as you have just seen, current student performance in grades 4, 5, and 6 indicates that we are on track to meet the board math goal in grade 7. Note that because we are on track for each of our interim goals at this time, you are not seeing a plan for corrective action. In support of the board goal, we intend to deepen our implementation of grade-level curriculum, instructional routines, and each student's iReady personalized pathway. As we close our monitoring report, I'm also excited to announce our first math symposium that will take place on Tuesday, August 13th, for all math teachers in the district and building administrators in grades 4 through 7. During this professional learning opportunity, teachers will have the opportunity to learn and extend their key math strategies and accelerate students' mathematical learning. I certainly want to thank all of our teachers across the district who will participate in this hands-on learning experience for their dedication and efforts to strengthen their instructional practices in math. I also want to extend a huge congratulations and gratitude again to our Columbus community for their ongoing support of our schools. We know that recent investments from the levy will support this symposium and other professional development opportunities throughout next year so that all math teachers will have the opportunity to continue to learn, deepen, and strengthen their teaching practices, promote equity in math, and bring out the mathematical brilliance in each and every one of our students here in CCS. Thank you. At this time, President Vera, we will entertain any questions that you have regarding our monitoring report.
Thank you, Dr. Chapman. Colleagues, as a reminder, I know many of us met with Dr. Brown and Dr. Chapman to submit questions. So certainly at this time, we will not be repeating any of those questions. And I also want to remind each colleague that there is just a guided handout in our binders. And at this time, we can open for any strategic questions that have not already been presented. Board Member Simmons.
Thank you, Board President. Dr. Chapman, I know we touched upon it briefly at our last meeting, but I was hoping you could kind of speak to some of the reasons why our students might find themselves homeless to kind of raise awareness.
I'm sorry, Board Member Simmons, can you repeat that question?
I know we talked about it a little bit last week, but I was wondering if you could kind of talk to maybe some of the things happening in our community that lead our students to be homeless, as we see through the data that that's the group that are typically struggling and lagging behind. Just if you could talk to some of the reasons why we're seeing from when our families come back and they tell us, hey, we're struggling with housing right now. Are we getting data as to why, or maybe anecdotally?
Dr. Chapman, before you answer that question, I think that's a really important question, Board Member Simmons, but that is not a part of this monitoring report. We're not monitoring that as a specific part of this report.
Are we only supposed to ask the questions on the sheet? Because at the first meeting, it was suggested that, but then at our last monitoring session, we didn't do that, so I'm not sure.
Yes, at this time, we are only talking about math and what's presented in this particular document. So
okay.
A great question. Certainly that is information that Board Member Simmons is interested in. Do you have another question, Board Member Simmons?
Well, can I look over the sheet just real quick, please?
While you're looking at that, any other colleagues have any questions?
I think what,
do you have a question, Dr.
Yes,
Pierce?
I want to paraphrase our assist Board Member Simmons, because I think what he's getting at is, do we understand what the root cause of homelessness in our community is? And in general, how is that impacting the data that we are seeing across our monitoring reports, specifically noted in tonight's report?
Is that what you were getting at, Board Member?
It was,
Simmons?
but I'm not sure if we're supposed to ask that or not, because it's not on the sheet.
It is on the sheet. It's
which one is that?
Block number 3. It's the first one that's given. What do we know about the root cause of the student data in the report? Homelessness is the root cause. The question goes deeper, because I extended it and said, what do we know about the community? Because your question is about how is housing affecting it. The response from the superintendent to the initial question that we got was that we're a voting member of the shelter board.
Is that a question that was already answered?
The question that is posed right now has not been answered, but some of the information that was given in a previous question could be used to answer this question without me answering the question.
I still personally don't see the connection. So if you can sum it up, sum it up for us, Doc.
Do we know what the root causes of homelessness in our community are, as we see that homeless students are performing under target are performing under target in other monitoring reports and close to performing under target in this one?
So I've certainly, in my term, in this role, in my experience as a member of the Columbus community, I am aware that there are a myriad of reasons why our families have housing instability, and thinking about the vulnerable youth that we serve, which certainly one of the factors that lead to our youth being vulnerable is the housing instability in our community. We know that there are a variety of factors of why that is the case. We know that we are seeing certainly an increase of students who are homeless, an increase in students who are vulnerable due to housing insecurity. And certainly we are collaborating with our community partners across the city to be thought partners in how we support and provide resources to our vulnerable youth in the district. And I certainly welcome all of our board members who are also members of the community to shed light from their perspective as well as context if you can offer additional reasons why we are experiencing housing instability in our city. I believe that's the question, the answer to that question.
It's a root cause of why we're seeing the impact of homelessness.
Did you have another question?
I would just like to uplift that, an estimated 25 to 40% of homeless youth are members of the LGBTQ plus community. Many of those students may have been kicked out. Mom or dad has said, no, you're not able to live here. You have to leave our home. Because of their sexual identity or their gender orientation. And I just wanted to lift that up because too often times our LGBTQ students are left out of the conversation. And so my question is, and if it can't make it as a question, I will certainly follow up. I'm going to make it as a statement, is, you provided a response about what services we provide to all of our to all of our homeless students, but I was wondering if you could talk about, that estimated 25 to 40% of students, if you could talk about what services might be specifically provided and tailored to them. Are we partnering with different organizations in our community? Do we have specialized staff? And I will connect this back to our board goals and guardrails that, two of them ensure a culturally responsive staff as well as prioritize a whole child focus. I think when we're having these conversations, we've often just talked about the board goals, but what we haven't talked about are our board goal guardrails very often. And so just to reiterate my question, and okay, so fine if we're not allowed to ask it during this portion, but what services does the district offer or partner with different agencies to offer specifically to our LGBTQ plus students who have found themselves homeless? If it would be more convenient, I'd be happy to follow up.
So I think, it's a matter around how are we drilling into the data around our homeless student population? What do we know about our students that are homeless, right? What are the demographics related to, are they homeless? Are they dealing with LGBTQA plus issues? So I think that is a more, that's a deeper dive into data. That's a bigger conversation. It's definitely important, but it's also a technical question because we have to see if we have that data. And I apologize, Dr. Chapman, if I am speaking out of turn in terms of the data.
My question was just about what services do we offer those students? And then, and I will also just highlight, connecting back to my own experience as a student in the district, that is absolutely, students are absolutely kicked out of their homes because of their gender or sexual identity. I had classmates who I rode the bus home every day, and they had been kicked out of their homes. And, when I didn't see them on the bus, I asked them, why don't you ride our bus route home anymore? And they're living with grandma or grandpa or aunt now, or they're living at, maybe Star House or Huckleberry House. So I just want to, make sure I uplift that is absolutely something that does happen in our district, and we have to do everything right by those students to support them, to provide them with all the resources they need, to make sure, and again, that's one of our guardrails is align resources equitably. And if those students aren't getting the resources they need, then it's not equitable. And just to rephrase or to reiterate my question is, what services does the district provide to our homeless LGBTQ plus students, or do we partner with organizations who help us provide those services?
Thank you, Board Member Simmons. I appreciate you highlighting this. I think this is, in fact, as Vice President Pierce mentioned, this is a deeper dive, a deeper conversation, and that is something that I would like to submit to the administration to be able to follow up with all of us as to what those resources are. But at this time, we are not going to move forward with answering that question because I recognize that it is not a part of the monitoring. Thank you. All right, at this time, any other board members? Dr. Pierce.
So let's see, future performance question. Given what we know about the industry as it relates to workforce development, future jobs in this region, what can the board do to help you all speed up the progress that we're seeing in this interim report?
Thank you, Dr. Pierce, for that question. When I think about the growth that needs to happen in terms of student achievement to meet the demands of tomorrow, the demands of the workforce, the demands of our city and our region, staying focused on this board goal is the #1 priority. Recently, I was on a panel and we were talking about what's holding us back It was a more global conversation about what gets in the way of good teaching and learning. And I would offer that protecting the instructional time, protecting the instructional core is what we need now more than ever. We shared tonight that pre-pandemic, where student learning, particularly in the area of math, was before the pandemic. Post-pandemic, 3 decades of growth in the area of math has been erased nationally. Certainly, our data here in Columbus is on trend with that. And so what we need to do, again, is focus on these board goals. And so what that means is that we prioritize these board goals, we cascade them across the organization, and we have a laser-like focus on these goals, and this is the priority work of the district. And so again, making sure that we protect instructional time, we stay focused on what I say, keep the main thing, stay focused on these goals. We are focusing on middle school math as the foundation for ensuring that our students are ready for high school, ensuring that our students are matriculating from middle school with a stronger foundation in math so that they can be prepared for high school and then be ready for the rigor of high school courses. This is going to set them on that trajectory so that they can not only matriculate through high school and stay on track with their peers each year, but also making sure that they are able to pursue higher level math courses in high school as well. The foundation starts now. Again, that's why these interim goals are looking at math achievement in grades 4, 5, and 6, so that our students will be successful in 7th grade math, again, setting that foundation for high school success as well.
I appreciate that response, but it leads to another question. You just said we need to protect instructional time.
Yes.
How can we update these monitoring reports to provide the board with information as to how much instructional time our students are receiving in these particular subjects?
Well, we can certainly share how much instructional time our students are receiving in math, but this is more globally in thinking about making sure that we are not asking our staff to do more that pulls them away from protecting their instructional time. So for example, when we set these goals as a board, it sends a signal to the rest of the organization that these are our priorities as an organization, and we collectively, board and administration, are going to do everything that we can to make sure that we stay focused on these goals and nothing else. This is the major work of the district. These are our priorities, and we're going to do all that we can to protect the instructional time. We're allocating our resources to support these goals, and it ensures alignment across the organization. And that is significant for us as a district with 113 schools. We want to make sure that in all of our schools across the district, no matter what school you're visiting, we have clear understanding of what our board goals are, and we have alignment. We're aligning our resources to support those goals.
I propose that we investigate that further with the Academic and Facilities Alignment Committee, just to understand where we might be losing instructional time in terms of requesting or requiring our educators to be pulled in multiple ways or directions, but also how state testing or other requirements may be taking that instructional time away from our students. Thank you for that. I appreciate that response.
Thank you, Dr. Pierce. All right, this time, Board Member Adair.
I will make a motion to accept the reports as presented this evening, as well as the written report from the superintendent dated February 28th, 2024, for interim goals 2.1 to 2.3, which support our 7th grade math goal based on the OST.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Mr. Simmons?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
We're accepting her report.
Oh. Yes.
President Vera?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Ms. Ingalls?
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Brown. All right, good evening, Mr. O'Connor. How are you, sir?
Good evening. I only have an announcement today, and that is we have an audit and accountability meeting next Thursday, March 28th at 3700 South High Street, Suite 825 at 3:30 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good evening, Ms. Vanover.
Good evening.
Do you have any, I know you don't have a report. Do you have any updates for us?
I have nothing to update tonight.
All right, well, thank you. All right, colleagues, we will now move to item 9.1, public hearing on reemployment of retired employee Kevin Zinzowski. Pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, Section 3309.345, the Columbus Board of Education gives notice that Kevin Zinzowski, Executive Director of Specialty Audits, who retired from Columbus City Schools effective January 31st, 2024, is seeking employment with Columbus City Schools as the Executive Director of Specialty Audits effective April 1st, 2024. There is no one here to speak on this hearing, so this hearing is now closed. All right, colleagues, we are going to now move down to our consent agenda, which is items 10, or our first consent agenda, items 10.1 to 26.7. Are there any items a member would like to have removed and voted on individually from the consent agenda? Any discussion? Oh,
Yes,
Dr.
discussion. 16.3, award of general contract for the Mifflin High School press box replacement.
Is that a motion to move that?
Yes, for discussion.
Is there a second?
So we just need a motion and a second for the consent agenda.
Sorry, are you making a motion to pull it from the consent agenda?
Not to pull it, just for
Just wanna have
discussion.
So we need the motion and the
So we
second
need
then to just, then
Okay.
to go forward.
So point of order, President Adair, or President Vera, I'm sorry. I think to have the discussion, we need to pull it from the consent agenda. Whether or not everybody consents and votes wholly to have the discussion, it needs to be pulled from the consent agenda.
Okay.
The consent agenda is a no discussion item.
Perfect. So we will be pulling item 16.3. Is that a motion? Is there
Board President, I would just, can we clarify if our parliamentarian, Dr. Roush, please, because at every meeting I've been at as a board member, we've always discussed the consent agenda items without removing them from the consent agenda. So if we're going to make a process change or a change in how we interpret our rules, that's fine. But I would just like to have that conversation, maybe not right here on the spot. And then I will also say, in addition, that the consent agenda is an agenda item, and so I'm not sure why we wouldn't be able to have a discussion about the consent agenda as a whole. But I'd love to hear from our parliamentarian.
In looking at Robert's rules, and I would reference back to the wonderful memorandum put forth by Board Member Ingalls, which did a very good job. In the purest form of a consent agenda, the consent agenda is not debated. It's not a debatable motion. It's simply an up or down motion. Yes, we have done things differently in the past, and while allowable, it was perhaps not as the cleanest way to do it. And certainly, as we continue to evolve as a board, Robert's rules would recommend the manner in which Board Member Ingalls put forth in her memorandum. So the consent agenda, if you wish to discuss an item or debate an item, should be removed from the consent agenda for said discussion. If there's no objection to removing said item for that discussion, then you simply is removed from the item and you can have the discussion after you vote and dispense with the consent agenda.
Madam President, if we're not able to discuss the items on the consent agenda without having them removed first, then I'd have to find a workaround because there's important business to be discussed.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Eric, what Mr. Roush brought forward, is that we have had a memorandum on this. I also texted every member of this board to make sure that everybody understood the rules. But that said, if there is an item that a board member would like to remove from the consent agenda to discuss, they could make that motion right now to remove that item from the consent agenda, and then those items are individually considered and up for discussion.
Board President, I'm sorry, I don't think I got your text. When was it sent?
Okay.
I've had conversations with you about this.
We've talked about
Point of
voting,
order.
but
Point
we
of
haven't
order.
talked about
Parliamentarian Dr. Roush, the question, I would just like to put 16.3 on the floor for discussion. I do not think it merits being removed from our consent agenda, just a discussion.
You have a motion before you now for the consent agenda, and I believe, has there been a motion yet? There's no motion yet. The cleanest way to do this is to remove the item from the consent agenda and have it discussed. Under the consent agenda, it is simply an up or down vote.
Point of order, Dr. Roush. If we're not able to consent the agenda, but I could make a motion to amend the consent agenda, and if that motion is seconded, then the amendment would be discussable, and then I'd be able to discuss. So if we're not able to do our practice, which has been, again, for all year, for the meetings I've been at, if we're not able to do our practice, then I'm just going to have to make a motion, and then we'd be able to discuss the items on the consent agenda regardless.
Are you comfortable with that?
That's a motion? Is that a motion?
No, it was a parliamentary
procedural
inquiry for
process.
Dr. Roush.
The cleanest way to pull is to name the items that you would like to pull to discuss. We pull them from the consent agenda. They are considered as individual items. We have discussion when the item comes up, and then the rest of the consent agenda is a yes or no vote or abstention.
Can we go back to the email communication or the text? I'm a bit confused about what exactly that was.
And I'm happy to post that wherever.
Hold on. Okay. Everybody's talking over each other, so we want to be mindful of one person speaking at a time. So at this time, Dr. Pierce.
I will make a motion to pull 16.3 from our consent agenda for discussion.
That's a motion.
Madam President, point of order. Is a motion to pull from the consent agenda, is that debatable?
That is not a debatable motion.
Thank you.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes? Yes. Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
President Vera?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much for this, colleagues. I appreciate it. So the point of discussion for 16.3, while I understand what happened to our press box at Mifflin High School, I am very concerned about the investment to replace it. The discussion is for us as the board to think about how are we determining the levels of investments we are making in buildings, knowing that we have the FMP process going on, and then also how are we being mindful of these investments, understanding that Board Member Adair will be looking at equity and athletics, extracurricular activities, as well as our arts and theater programs have kind of been lifted as one of these areas where we have inequities.
Is that a question?
It was the discussion point. That's
Okay. Board Member Simmons?
No, I'm just conferring with
He's
our
still on the
parliamentary.
process part.
I will have something here in just a moment, but are you ready for me now?
No.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
That was the discussion point for us to really reflect about the investments, to think about the inequity that currently exists in our district and how this act of us investing this much money in the replacement of Mifflin's press box is signaling and communicating to our community.
Any board members have anything they want to add? Does that close this discussion? Do you have any else, Dr. Pierce? Vice President? All right, so does that...
I just encourage us to be thoughtful.
Thank you, Dr. Pierce. All right, so at this time, we are going to close discussion.
So now you need to vote on 16.3 separately, correct?
Yes.
Or do you
Well,
need
you had a motion to pull it from the consent agenda as its own item. There now needs to be a motion and a second for the item itself, unless I missed that
Right, that's what
in going back and forth.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is now that they've discussed, it's been removed and discussed, now they need to make a motion and a second to act upon it before
Correct.
we move into the consent agenda.
Yes.
Who would like to give it?
To put it back on the consent agenda?
Or just move and second the item itself and vote on it.
No, you can vote on the issue individually, 16.3. So I'll make a motion to approve item 16.3.
Second.
Please call the roll.
President Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce?
No.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
No.
Is it single source or not?
That's what my computer is down, so give me a moment to pull that back
Hold
out
on.
here.
So now, point of order, President Pierre, I believe now we can move back to the consent agenda. It's everything except for item 6.3, 16.3.
All right, so now, well, we have to, are we?
Well, I think
gonna
there's
say,
still
if
a
it's-
question pending about whether or not.
Pass.
Yeah, if it's sole source, it needs a 5-member vote, correct?
I'm looking here to see what 16.3 says.
I don't see that.
It should have.
Which agenda item was it?
Does not note that, it doesn't note here that it's a sole source.
Oh, yes.
Oh, is the vote count the issue?
I'm just looking at what's in front of us here.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, we only have 4.
It does not indicate that it's a sole source so that it would pass.
Okay. So it does pass. Sorry, just wanted to
I
make
thought it was a sole source.
It's listed as other because it's through cooperative purchasing, so I didn't know how that impacted it. Wanted to make sure before I'm essentially determined whether it passed or not.
If there's a better question about whether that's more of a legal question, because that's a statutory provision, more so than it is a rules provision, if you will.
Correct.
I don't see it marked in the legislation as such, but if you certainly want to confer with counsel before you call the result of that, I understand the desire to do so.
Yeah, we can do that.
You may want to stand at ease or take a brief recess to do so.
Yeah, because it does not indicate it in the response.
Let's take a brief recess.
Point
5 minutes.
point of order, we need a motion to recess. If someone would like to offer a motion, and they could be seconded, but per our rules, Robert.
Motion to recess.
Second.
If you say if there's no objection, you can go into recess then.
Yes.
Oh, I objected based on not following the rules, so there was an objection.
But you made the second as well.
There's a second now, so rather than, the treasurer can call the roll, you can have the treasurer call the roll, or without objection, you can move into recess.
There's also a lot of people talking out of order. And right now, we need to be very clear that unless you're called upon, we are not just yelling things out. Because we're confusing our team, we're confusing me, and we need to, if we're gonna do point of order, we need to wait until you're called on. So now are we doing a 5-minute recess? Is that what we have the motion? Do we need to call the roll?
You had no objection, Madam President. You can call for recess.
All right, we're gonna do a 5-minute recess to check if that stands. Thank you.
You know that. I know that. The kids certainly experience that. Never for a moment feel or think that you're not valued. Everybody may not show you how much you're valued, but you are and always will be.
Roxanne Beard, a 6th grade math teacher at Yorktown Middle School, will be spending her summer teaching at Sherwood Middle School. She says this is the first time the district has held a kickoff summer experience professional development event, and it did not disappoint.
I think this was very empowering for our teachers and then our staff that's working together. We don't know each other, so this is a chance that we get to collaborate and start building those relationships as well and talking about ideas that we want to see happen in this summer experience program this year.
Really, we have been really intentional about creating a professional learning experience that has teachers at our center.
This year's summer experience includes project-based learning focusing on entrepreneurship, family and consumer sciences, fine arts, STEM, and world languages and cultures.
And the reason why summer experiences are so critical is it provides the same content and cross-curricular learning process that happens during the school year. Students who, for instance, are participating in our STEM path with Franklin Park Conservatory, they not only get the science, social studies, reading, math, right? All of that content, but they're able to actually use it in a very real world experience type of fashion.
Summer experience starts June 20th and will take place over the course of 4 to 6 weeks.
We are grateful that Junior Achievement leaned in to support us in getting LeVar Burton here to support our staff.
As a school district, it is mission critical for us to leverage the power of partnerships. Today, we have over 150 community partners that have joined hands with us to make sure that we are providing access to our families.
An opportunity to have a leg up and get those kids ready for school so that the first day they've got their bus pass, they've got their school supplies, and they got their backpack and they're ready to go. This fair means the world to all of us.
It really brings our community together. It really helps our families feel welcome and excited to come back to school. And this is the momentum we need to carry out through the rest of the year.
This event is actually amazing. There are so many different partners here. Every healthcare entity that we have is here, and we're all working together to be able to put everybody in one place on a beautiful day like this and just be able to identify and help everyone that walks through these lines.
To be able to reach 10,000, 13,000 people in one day is more than what we can do throughout the entire year throughout outreach. The diversity of the folks that are here, the amount of interest that people have in the Red Cross and all of our community partners is really encouraging and inspiring.
There is strength in partnerships, and we want Columbus City Schools to know that we are a partner both in the classroom and outside of the classroom. We share a common goal, and that goal is student success. And we want these students to succeed, and we would love to be a part of their success as they go throughout this school year and school years to come.
It just makes me so proud to be a Columbus City School graduate, proud of all the great teachers and staff of Columbus City Schools that are out here making it happen, and just really proud of all the partners that are here, from after-school programs, all the city teams that are here, really all kind of stacking hands, and I think showing the kids and families of this community that we're all in this together, and we're going to do everything in our power to make sure we have an awesome, awesome school year.
Family support is critical at CCS, and we have a wealth of resources for our families.
The mission of the Columbus Recreation and Parks Department is to connect the residents of this community through nature, wellness, and creativity. It's all about being able to reach the students as they are out in the community as well as in the classroom.
The growth of this city is going to be incredible, but we're not just interested in being bigger, we're interested in being better. And that's what today is all about, to make sure our kids and our families are successful. I think this is going to be the best school year ever.
It is our goal and a priority for us to support the whole child, which includes the whole school and the whole community. So we really want to provide those wraparound supports to our students and families and provide them with the resources that they need so that their students can come to school every day ready to learn and ready to succeed.
City League is so important because it's just important to keep kids active and stay out the streets and do good.
It's kind of funny. Tejan came into us this year, but his dad, I actually coached in Little League. He played for my Columbus Day Stars.
Oh, get a break. Coach Bell, he mean a lot to me. That's my dude. And he actually out here doing this for us. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here.
One of the things I think that separates Tejan is his work ethic and his attitude. You know, he always wants to be first. He wins in the sprints. He studies the film. Like, he spends more time on the film than some of my coaches do. You know, he studies the game of football, and he's always asking questions. And you know, I think that separates him a lot about his commitment to the game of football and trying to be the best he can be. He scored 5 touchdowns the first game. You know, I think he had 7 touches, and he had 5 touchdowns. And then the second game, he had maybe 4 touches, and he had 3 touchdowns. In our third game, he had 2 more touchdowns. The other part that's exceptional about him is that he's a pretty good defensive player.
Me and my teammates, we play a lot, and it's all about fun for real. That's all it's about, having fun. Coming out with a good attitude, positive energy, no negative. That's how we push each other.
You know, he has over 3.5 or, you know, close to a 3.6 in the classroom. So I was asking him, I said, why is it important for you to get good grades? And he said, because that's what they expected of me and my family.
Without good grades, you ain't going nowhere. You need education first to get in any school, for any sports. If you're gonna be a student athlete, you gotta have good grades. I wanna go to college because not too many people in my family went to college, and I wanna be one of them people that go forward, not just to go to college, just to say I went to college. I wanna go to college and prove something to a lot of people.
He's coachable. He's always asking questions. You know, I give him direction. He follows it. He listens. Yeah, he definitely has the potential to be a big-time football player in the Division I level.
I want to think about entrepreneur. I want to play in NFL, but if that don't go well, my backup plan was entrepreneur.
College coaches should recruit Tejan Burns because he has world-class speed. He's a culture changer type young man. So he definitely going to bring the energy and the leadership and the commitment to your program. So if you're out there, you D1s, D2s, you need to come see him.
College coaches should recruit me because I'm a good teammate. I'm good in the classroom. Good education. I work hard. I'm nice.
Seeing students succeed is always a great feeling, and seeing students succeed in part because of the things you have taught them is even better. I guess the best part would be seeing students who don't fit in other places find their niche in my class, that is such a deeply rewarding, satisfying feeling. Here is just this square saw one wave.
Mr. Van has been a great teacher. He's probably one of the best teachers I've ever had. I see myself in him sometimes because he's very smart. He picks up on stuff quick, and he's a very good explainer. He explains stuff very well, and he's very patient with us, but he also pushes us.
He's an amazing teacher, like funny, like relates to you really well.
Marcel Harris is one of my standout students. He's been working at WCBE as an intern this year, and he has a lot of talent.
I've learned pretty much all I know right now with just production, learning through music theory. He's helped me with that. Like, I knew pretty much nothing when I came in. Now I feel confident in my skills.
Somebody pick a category. Mallet, okay? Magenta, that does sound impressive.
He's an amazing teacher, and it's not even a debate. He's coming here from junior year. Even through the pandemic, he's done his most to teach us and feed as much information to us as possible. Like, whether it be classworks or just conversations, like man to man, like human to human, he's a great person, and he cares for all the students in this class.
Mr. Van Bibber, I love him so much. I'm so glad I chose this class when I came here. I don't know where I would be at without him. I've learned so much from him, and I appreciate him, and I'm going to miss him when I leave.
I mean, just so many students, just their normal daily work, a lot of it is pretty incredible. My favorite things are when students branch out. They go above and beyond the class projects, and they're working on their own music, because that's where their passion really comes into play. And I think they get the best results is when they apply what they learned in the class to their own material.
Overzealous when the fake get jealous. Jealousy is a dangerous thing to a human being. I'm always dreaming about simple things, thinking of future things.
I'm able to give my students projects and experiences with recording, with mixing, with mastering, with post-production, with audio for video games, with live sound. All of those things, beat making, songwriting, and then they go on to become professionals in that, and they end up knowing much more than me, which is the goal. That's what I want to happen.
You should join this program because it's just a great chance to learn and grow. You have to start somewhere, and as you continue to build, you will become something. There's just no doubt about it.
If you have a knack for being creative, like if you're that kid that used to be in classes just, tapping pens or just like beatboxing, if music and the process of creating music is for you, this is that program, because we have a good blend of people. It's such a great environment. It's definitely my favorite part of the day. For times where even if I miss the first half of the day for like an appointment or something like that, I still want to be here for Career Center.
Wanting to learn more about music and what it all really takes, and even like the business aspect.
It's a great experience. It's not just with producing. Like, Mr. Van gives you a lot of opportunities to learn. He had a lot of speakers come in, and he gives us a lot of internship opportunities, like radio stations.
It's a really good opportunity to learn how to create your own music if that's something you're interested in. Also, there's a lot of coding and technology.
You should join the program because you're going to be around people who want to do what you want to do and have the same interests as you. That's going to make you grow as a musician, an artist, and as an engineer.
My vision blurry, can't see the pain with my vision. It's probably because I've been feeling division. There ain't no blood, but it's spilling my body.
All right, we are now back from recess. Treasurer Vanover.
Yes, we've confirmed the motion did carry.
Thank you. All right, so we are going to go back to our consent agenda. Is there an item that a board member wish to pull for discussion or separate consideration? Board member Simmons?
20.1.
20.1. That's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any objection? All right. Board member Simmons.
I would have someone move and second 20.1 and then begin debate and discussion.
Move the second for 20.1.
It's been moved and second.
It's been moved and seconded to remove it from the consent agenda, and now it should be removed and seconded as an item for debate and discussion.
Is there a motion to
Mr.
move the
Simmons,
item
make
for?
the motion. It's your item. Make the motion.
You move to consider
discuss.
20.1.
For discussion.
Motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss, Brandon.
No, motion to approve.
It'd be a motion to approve 20.1.
Move it from the
I move
consent.
to approve 20.1.
Second.
Discussion.
Now discussion.
Oh, thank you. So
He still needs to make the motion to have the discussion is what you're saying.
I'm saying that you just need to recognize him. You need to recognize whomever now. So he's asking to be
Board member
recognized.
I'm sorry, point of order. I thought in order to remove something from the agenda, it needed a vote.
If there was no objection to removing it from the consent agenda, but once it's removed from the consent agenda, it still needs to be moved and seconded in order to be considered and voted upon. It's now an item, it just is on the agenda. You still have to move it and second it to adopt it, to approve it.
So we're in the discussion.
You're now, there's been a motion and second on that item, so you're now to the debate discussion phase. The president has then the authority to recognize whomever she recognizes.
I wanted to highlight today on the personnel agenda, and I will scroll back to it. We heard from our staff today about substitutes and about how the reduction to their staff they handed us this great information. There's a couple things I will just read out. Without quality building substitutes, it makes the whole school dysfunctional. It causes teachers to be stressed from worrying about what will happen to their students if we call off work. Also, splitting students when another teacher is absent and having extra students in a class is a huge burden. Huge is all capitalized. Class sizes are already too large, and having extra students in the class causes all kinds of logistical problems. Another one, they know every student in the building and can enter any classroom with minimal disruptions to the learning process. Most days, each building sub is utilized by an absence, preventing the added pressure of covering students until preventing the added pressure of covering students during a planning period or having extra students in the classroom. I want to connect this back to my experience as a student. There are a lot of times where a teacher did have to use their planning period to cover our class, or where we were sent, a temporary sub that didn't have familiarity with the building or us as students, and wasn't really qualified to be there, to be quite honest. From the perspective of the student experience. And the reason why I raised this on our personnel agenda today is there are a couple positions within the payroll department of the treasurer's office. It sounds like previously we had one person managing 12 people. Now that one person manages 3 people, and then maybe 1 or 2 of those 3 people manages 2 or 3 people. One of those people manages only one person. And I wanted to highlight, we heard about administrative bloat. Our community knows we're top heavy. I know we're top heavy. We need to make reductions to our central office staff. And so I just have a lot of concern that we are moving forward with positions, and why I don't have any issue with the individuals, but we are, spending our community's valuable dollars to pay people to manage 2 or 3 people, or one person, and then to be managed by another person who's just managed by another. And so, if I'm just curious as to, and this is my question, and if Board President, if you'd permit it, and the interim treasurer would like to respond, that'd be great. If not, I can always follow up after this board meeting and then share the information at the next board meeting. But I'm just confused as to what challenges in the payroll department were these positions, these additional supervisory and managerial positions attempting to solve. And I'm curious how the operations of that department has been improved since they were added. Again, we went from one person managing 12 people to what now, if I understood the information from the interim treasurer, correctly, it's one person who manages 3, and then each of those 3 people manages 2 or 3 other people, and then one of those 3 people actually only manages 1 person. It's a lot of layers. It's a lot of layers to the onion. And I just wonder, is that really the best investment for our district, or would a better investment be in our building substitutes that we heard tonight, or maybe the other hundreds of positions that will be ended at the end of this year when those ESSER dollars run out? And so again, I just want to reiterate that what we heard tonight was absolutely true. We do have administrative bloat. And there are far too many times where we make the decision to hire additional staff. I was looking through the personnel agenda, $104,000, $114,000. And again, I just wonder what those challenges were that we were attempting to overcome that would require adding 1, 2, 3 layers of management, where again, prior it was one person managing 12 people. I've also heard from other folks, there's one department where there's 5 supervisors, a deputy director, and a director. We have a school where all K through 12 is all co-located in one building, but it's organized as a separate elementary, middle, and high school, which means there's a separate principal and assistants for that building. These dollars would be more valuably spent in the classroom on the people we've heard are the people who matter to our students. And so I encourage my colleagues to look through the information that was provided to us today at the board table, because this is not the best place for our community's dollars. And with that, I have nothing else to discuss, Madam President. I would like to make a point of personal privilege after this motion to clarify some of my comments before we recessed.
Anybody else? So thank you for bringing this matter. I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Do I
Dr.
have
Pierce.
a point of, okay, thank you, appreciate it, President Vera. While this discussion is related to 20.1, I think it's important to note that when we are discussing our human resources and our personnel, that those do tend to be separated in terms of our academic services and our human resources. I would like to note, and Dr. Chapman, please correct me if I'm wrong, that today's personnel files do show the appointment and hire of substitute teachers for our buildings for various classified subjects. And so I would like to thank those individuals that did come and give public comment. I would like to thank our administration for continuing to put dollars there, not negating the points that you are making in terms of, do we need to be more mindful with our spending? Yes, we do, but I do not want to conflate this idea that administration or administrative, was the term bloating, is impacting and also affecting our direct instruction to students. We do see efforts on the part of our administration, on the part of our Human Resources Department, to ensure that we are hiring classified individuals to be in the classroom. Again, not saying that we are 100% firing on all cylinders. There's definite room for improvement, but please note that tonight's agenda items also include the hiring and appointment of substitutes, teachers, instructional aides, coaches, and athletic directors.
Anybody else? Okay.
Thank you. Madam President, I do want to just share a quick story that from last year when I was running to be a board member. So I was up at the Early Vote Election Center. One of our past colleagues who's no longer with us, was campaigning for the levy, and a voter said to her, I'm not sure if I'm going to vote for it. The district's very top heavy. And that board member, who's no longer here, said, well, we did a study, and what we found was that comparatively we're actually not too top heavy, and we don't think it's impacting student instruction. And this voter looked that board member in the eyes, and she said, you need to have even less than what you do. And so I just wanted to share that story. That's the community's comments. That's what we heard from our staff who came today to speak. And as someone who once stood on that side of the room and looked this way and now gets to sit here and look that way, I want to echo those comments, because it is true that we invest too many dollars in the wrong places. And that's the reality of this district. That's the reality of the board. That's the reality of the administration. And there are places where our resources could be better invested, and that includes personnel. And again, I would just ask, and I will send this question to our interim treasurer's office, or of course, if the board president would entertain it, and she'd like to provide an answer now, I would just ask what challenges or obstacles were we attempting to solve by adding 3 layers of management to a group of, I think, about 12 total people. Going from, again, that one person who managed 12 people to now one person manages 3, and then each of those 3 manages 2 to 3, but one of them only really manages 1 person. So I just want to uplift that and reiterate that and say thank you to all of our staff who came to speak to us at the board table today. Those substitutes are absolutely vital, and I understand it might not be a 1-to-1 ratio, but there are certainly positions and space for this district, for this board to better allocate our resources, which not actually our resources, our community's resources, because we just hold them in trust for our community. That is our charge, but these resources are our community's resources at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Thank you, Board Member Simmons. Interim Treasurer Vanover, is there anything you would like to say or add?
Sure. Just to clarify, one payroll manager managed 12 staff. Yes, we are adding 1 layer of management, and each individual person will manage at least 3 people. In one case, there's going to be potentially 4. The challenges that we're trying to resolve with this layer of administration is several issues. One is trying to navigate and manage and validate the information related to new items included in our last 2 collective bargaining agreements that come out in payroll, that we have to then collect the data, we have to verify it, we have to get it paid timely. As a result of a lot of situations that we've had as it relates to that, as well as other issues, we have had situations where we've had to have people work out of class because they're, as an OPSI member, they cannot do certain things, which is part of the need for the administrative role. And again, the ultimate goal is to make sure all these teachers that we're supporting and that we want to have on staff are being paid accurately and timely. And that is our main focus. And this helps to reorganize our office in such a way that we can better accomplish that and do it faster and better. So I don't know if that provides all of the answers that you're looking for, but that was what our goal was when we started working with HR to design how that office needed to be restructured to help better provide that service.
Thank you, Ms. Vanover. All right, any other discussion on this item?
No, I appreciate the treasurer's response to that, again, as it relates to those specific 5 positions that are listed in this personnel file. Again, I just want to uplift the work that our academic team is doing to recruit and ensure that we have qualified educators in our building. And I continue to encourage, I guess, our entire board to think about how we are investing the money from our community, in our district, in our students, in our entire personnel and staff. Individuals can't do this alone.
Right.
Our educators need administrators, our administrators need educators, and our students need them all. So we need to balance it.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice President Pierce. I echo those sentiments. Do we need a motion to put this back?
We already have a motion and a second to vote.
Okay. So now we can do the full consent agenda? Great.
Well, we need to vote on item 20.1.
All right, so we need a motion.
We have the motion and the second. We just need the vote.
You just need to
Call the roll.
Okay. Ms. Adair.
Yes.
Ms. Ingalls.
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce.
Yes.
Ms. Reyes.
Yes.
Mr. Simmons.
No.
President Vera.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, so now we will move to approve items 10.1 to 26.7, the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussions? No. Objections? Please call the roll.
Ms. Ingalls.
Yes.
Vice President Dr. Pierce.
Yes.
Ms. Reyes.
Yes.
Mr. Simmons.
Yes.
President Vera.
Yes.
Ms. Adair.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, and we just have one more consent agenda items, 28.1 to 28.12. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second. Is there a second? Any discussion or objections? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Vice President Dr. Pierce?
Yes.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
President Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Madam President, I would like to make a point of personal privilege. Yes, thank you. I just wanted to, before we had recess, Board Member Ingles, I did get your memo. I misunderstood what you said. I thought you were saying, we got that memo roughly a month ago, and we did have a conversation about discussion and voting. And my understanding is that our practice in terms of how we voted would be changing. I didn't realize that our practice in terms of how we would be discussing things had changed. And so when you brought that up, I thought that maybe there was an additional memo. I started looking through my phone. And so you absolutely did send me that memo. You did, we did talk about it via email, text, over the phone. Absolutely did. So I just wanted to clarify that point. I just didn't realize that, again, it's been a month. I think we've had 2 board meetings since that. And I didn't realize that our practice in terms of discussion would also be changing. We talked about it as a potential. I just didn't realize that that was actually going to be happening today. So I just wanted to clarify that and put that out there for everyone.
Thank you. All right, so we'll now move into executive session. Dr. Vice President Pierce has the motion.
I feel like we need to do a mindful meditation moment before we go to
We'll do that when we get
I feel like
back.
we need to do some box breathing. How many of our students are doing box breathing? I need y'all to do some box breathing.
Can you just read the book?
It is recommended that the Board of Education recess into executive session per section 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official, or the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee per section 121.22G3 to confer with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action, and per section 121.22G4 to prepare for, conduct, or review negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
That's a motion. There's a second. Board Member Reyes, please call the roll.
Ms. Reyes?
Yes.
Mr. Simmons?
Yes.
President Vera?
Yes.
Ms. Adair?
Yes.
Ms. Ingles? Sorry, I was looking at Cole.
Did you call me?
Ms. Ingles. Sorry.
Yes.
I said Mr. I was looking at Cole's name. Ms. Ingles said yes. Vice President Dr. Pierce?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Well, before we adjourn, we won't come back televised, but I want to thank the team, the staff, everyone from International, all the students. Thank you for having us today. Thank you for the band that was playing at the beginning of the meeting. We truly enjoyed the experience. So have a good night. Thank you.